Family Farm, the true tree of the immortal dragon. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 276, Moonlight Treasure Mirror. The underground auction ended soon. The last two auction items were a 4th grade mid-grade alchemy furnace and a 4th grade high-grade dragon's ginseng, which sold 55 million spiritual stones and 80 million spiritual stones respectively. It's really shocking. This is no worse than a regular 3rd level high quality auction. After the auction ended, Buswanzi led Ye Changsheng and Mirren King out of the underground auction. After the auction ended, Ye Changsheng, Mirren King and Buswanzi left the underground auction house. On the way back, it was already dark, but the streets of the Golden Light Fortress were still brightly lit and bustling with activity. Buswanzi walked in front to lead the way, looking back at Ye Changsheng from time to time, his eyes full of gratitude. He spoke again. Changsheng, thank you so much for today. If you hadn't helped me, I would have failed this mission. Ye Changsheng smiled and waved his hand. Brother Boo, there's no need to be polite. It's just a little effort, Boo. Swansea shook his head repeatedly. It's a small effort. Brother Ye, you have spent a lot of money. Don't worry, when I return to the sect, I will definitely praise you to the master and elders. He blinked and looked at Mirren King meaningfully. I believe it won't be long before you and junior sister's affairs are settled. When Mirren King heard this, her pretty face turned red, and she lowered her head and said nothing. Ye Changsheng chuckled lightly and said, then there is brother Leo Boo. After walking for a while, Buswanzi seemed to suddenly remember something and said, by the way, I have completed my service in Golden Light Fortress and will return to Moonlight Gate soon. Junior sister, do you have anything you need to take back? You can prepare it now. Mirren King was stunned when she heard this, then shook her head. Not yet. Thank you for your concern, senior brother. When Ye Changsheng heard the news, his heart moved. He looked at Buswanzi and asked, Brother Boo, I would like to ask, does your respected master Miranzi have any favorite treasures? When Buswanzi heard this, his eyes turned slightly, as if he was thinking about how to answer. After a moment, he said, Master, he has always been fond of a 4th level low grade magic weapon called the Moonlight Treasure Mirror. This treasure is for sale at U0027 Kibeo Pavilion U0027 of Golden Light Fortress. Several of our fellow apprentices have been trying to raise money to give to master. I wanted to buy it back, but unfortunately I was short of money and couldn't do it. After hearing this, Ye Changsheng nodded thoughtfully. He turned to look at Mirren King with a questioning look in his eyes. Mirren King understood and nodded lightly. Seeing this, Ye Changsheng also nodded to express his understanding. He turned to Buswanzi and said with a smile, Brother Boo, I wonder if you are free tomorrow? How about you go shopping with me and Miss Mirren, Boo? Swansea was overjoyed when he heard this and quickly agreed, of course I'm free. It's my honor to go shopping with brother Yi and junior sister. After the three of them agreed on the time and place to meet tomorrow, they went back to Rest Point. After returning to Mirren King's cave, Mirren King couldn't help but ask, husband, are you planning to buy the Moonlight Treasure book for my master? Ye Changsheng nodded and admitted, I do have this plan. After all, we are your master, and we must express our feelings. Hearing this, Mirren King's eyes flashed with emotion, but then she showed worry. But husband, you have spent so many spiritual stones today. I know that the Moonlight Treasure book is worth a lot. You really don't have to do it for me. It costs so much. Ye Changsheng couldn't help laughing. When he heard Mirren King's words, he took Mirren King's hand and said softly, silly girl, do you know the monthly income of my 6th annual and pharmacy shop? Mirren King asked curiously, how much is it? Ye Changsheng smiled mysteriously and stretched out a finger. 100 million. This number instantly made Mirren King's eyes widen, and she was speechless for a moment. Ye Changsheng continued, my elixir shop will be opened once a month, and it will continue to operate for a long time. So don't worry, I can support you, your husband. After hearing these words, Mirren King looked at Ye Changsheng with eyes full of attachment and admiration. For the first time, she showed a shy expression like a little girl, and gently nestled in Ye Changsheng's arms. The two slept in each other's arms, and spent a tender and lingering night. Early the next morning, Ye Changsheng and Miranking got up to freshen up and prepare for their appointment. At the appointed time, they arrived at the entrance of Kibao Pavilion, where fortune teller had been waiting for a long time. Kibao Pavilion is one of the largest treasure trading places in the Golden Light Fortress. With a majestic facade and splendid splendor, there is a huge statue of mythical beast on both sides of the door, exuding a majestic atmosphere. When Bu Swansea saw the two arriving, he greeted them enthusiastically. "Brother Ye, junior sister, you are here. Let's go in and have a look." The three of them stepped into the Kibao Pavilion together and were immediately shocked by the dazzling array of treasures in front of them. There are all kinds of magic weapons, elixirs, and spiritual materials, which are dizzying. Ye Changsheng went straight to the topic and asked the waiter on the side, "Where is the moonlight treasure mirror?" The waiter respectfully guided them to a booth on the third floor. "I saw a crystal clear mirror floating above the booth, emitting a faint moonlight. This is the moonlight treasure book," Bu Swansea introduced. "It is said that it can use the power of moonlight to enhance the spiritual strength and spiritual power of practitioners." Ye Changsheng looked at the magic weapon carefully and nodded. "It is indeed a good treasure. I wonder what the price is." The waiter replied respectfully, reporting to the guest, "The price of this moonlight treasure mirror is 28 million spirit stones." Hearing this number, Miranking couldn't help but gasp. But Ye Changsheng didn't change his expression and said directly, "Okay, I want it." Bu Swansea and Miranking looked at Ye Changsheng in surprise. They didn't expect him to make such a quick decision. Ye Changsheng turned to Miranking and smiled. "This is our gift to Master Mirang." King was moved to tears and nodded gently. In this way, Ye Changsheng happily paid the spirit stones and bought this valuable moonlight treasure mirror. When leaving the Seven Treasures Pavilion, Bu Swansea was still immersed in shock, constantly sighing at Ye Changsheng's generosity. After leaving the Seven Treasures Pavilion, the three returned to Miranking's cave. Ye Changsheng carefully took out the moonlight treasure mirror he had just bought and placed it on the table. "This is really a rare treasure." Bu Swansea couldn't help but sigh. With envy in his eyes, Ye Changsheng smiled and nodded, then took out an exquisite gift box from the storage bag. The gift box was a light green color, with delicate cloud patterns carved on it, and it was obvious that it was not an ordinary item. "This gift box is also very good, Mirang," King praised. "Husband, you are so thoughtful." Ye Changsheng smiled and said, "I prepared this specially. Since it is a gift for Master, it must be put in the best gift box." Chapter 277 Lin Zirao. He carefully placed the moonlight treasure mirror into the gift box, moving gently, fearing that he would bump into this precious magic weapon. Then, he took out a jade slip from his arms. "What is this?" Bu Swansea asked curiously. "I recorded some respectful words in advance," Ye Changsheng explained. "Although I can't meet the master in person, I still want to express my respect." He also placed the jade slip into the gift box and gently closed the lid. Bu Swansea praised repeatedly. "Brother Ye, you are so thoughtful. I believe the master will like this gift very much." Mirang King also looked at Ye Changsheng with love in her eyes. Bu Swansea suddenly thought of something, patted Ye Changsheng on the shoulder, and said with a smile, "Brother Ye, don't worry, as long as the master is happy, you won't have to spend much spiritual stones on the sect. Although our moonlight sect is not a big sect, we will not let our people suffer." Ye Changsheng waved his hand and smiled. "Brother Bu is polite. I don't care about these. As long as Mirang King is happy and can have face in front of everyone in the sect, I will be satisfied." When Mirang King heard this, a blush appeared on her face, and she lowered her head and smiled embarrassedly. Bu Swansea looked at this scene and couldn't help but praise again. "Junior sister, you have a good eye. Brother Ye is not only strong, but also has a good character. You have found a good home." Mirang King nodded shyly and glanced at Ye Changsheng secretly. The three chatted for a long time, and the topic ranged from cultivation to knowledge from all over the world. Bu Xuanzi also praised Ye Changsheng's knowledge and experience, saying that he had gained a lot from coming to the Golden Light Fortress this time. As the night deepened, Bu Xuanzi stood up and said goodbye. Ye Changsheng and Mirren King sent him to the door of the cave. Brother Ye, junior sister, I'll take my leave first, Bu Xuanzi said with a smile. I will leave for the sect early tomorrow morning. I will send you a message as soon as I give the gift to Master Ye. Changsheng nodded and said, then I'll trouble you, brother Bu. Be careful on the road. If you need any help, just ask. Mirren King also reminded him, senior brother, be safe on the road. Say hello to Master and other junior brothers for me. Bu Xuanzi agreed and turned to leave. Ye Changsheng and Mirren King watched his figure disappear in the night and then returned to the cave. Back in the house, Mirren King couldn't help hugging Ye Changsheng and whispered, thank you, my husband. Ye Changsheng gently stroked her hair and said softly, silly girl, why are you thanking me? You and I are one, and your business is my business. The two smiled at each other, their eyes full of happiness. The next day, Ye Changsheng was immersed in the alchemy business again, delivering the barrier-breaking pill to the agreed medicinal material dealer every month. One day 2 months later, when Ye Changsheng was refining the pill, he received a message from Lin Ziruo, asking him to come over. Ye Changsheng hurried his steps, feeling a little uneasy. Ever since he received the message from Lin Ziruo, he guessed that this matter was not trivial, so he put down the alchemy work in his hands and rushed to Lin Ziruo's cave. When he arrived at the door of the cave, he saw Lin Ziruo standing in front of the door waiting from a distance, and there was a female cultivator with a cold temperament standing beside her. She was dressed in a simple green dress, with a faint majesty between her eyebrows, as if she was not stained by the fireworks of the world. Husband, this is my sister, Lin Ziruo. Seeing him coming, Lin Ziruo hurriedly stepped forward and introduced him respectfully. Ye Changsheng was slightly startled. Then he clasped his fists respectfully and saluted. Hello, sister. Lin Ziruo looked indifferent, nodded slowly, and swept her eyes over Ye Changsheng, as if examining his character and strength. Ye Changsheng felt her icy eyes, but he did not feel uncomfortable at all. He still maintained his courtesy and looked calm, as if everything was under control. Lin Ziruo nodded slightly, as a recognition of Ye Changsheng, and then said softly, Changsheng, the Daoting Clan you gave to our family, with the help of which my father has successfully broken through the Daoting period. This time I came here to express my gratitude to you on behalf of my father. Ye Changsheng waved his hand quickly and said modestly, sister, you are too polite. It is my honor to be able to help Uncle Lin. Besides, we are a family, so there is no need to be so formal. Hearing the 3 words family, Lin Ziruo's face showed a shy blush, and she secretly glanced at Ye Changsheng. Lin Ziruo naturally took this scene in, and felt a little relieved, and her original indifference was slightly relieved. She could see that Ye Changsheng really had feelings for her sister, and was not just seeking benefits like some cultivators, which made her feel a little good about Ye Changsheng. Seeing that the atmosphere was relaxed, Ye Changsheng changed his mind and smiled and suggested, since senior sister Lin is visiting today at noon, why don't I treat you two to a meal at the Xianan Pavilion, which can be regarded as a welcome for your sister. When Lin Ziruo heard Ye Changsheng's proposal, her eyes lit up, and she nodded repeatedly to express her agreement. Lin Ziruo thought for a while, and considering that the purpose of this trip was also completed, she nodded gently in agreement. The 3 of them walked out of the cave together and set foot on the road leading to the Xianan Pavilion. Along the way, Ye Changsheng and Lin Ziruo walked side by side, whispering a few words from time to time, revealing a strong sense of intimacy in their words. Lin Ziruo walked beside them. Although she remained silent from time to time, her eyes were less cold and more gentle. Soon after, they arrived at the Xianan Pavilion. Xianan Pavilion is a well-known restaurant in Jingguan Fortress. The whole pavilion is built on the hillside. From a distance, it looks like a fairy palace in the air. Magnificent. The whole pavilion is made of white jade, shining brightly under the sunlight. It is surrounded by rich spiritual energy, as if it has been blessed by the formation, making the whole pavilion shrouded in a faint mist, like a fairyland. Entering Xianan Pavilion, the eyes suddenly open up. In the hall, Countless crystal clear night pearls are inlaid on the walls around, emitting soft light. In the middle, a huge carved screen divides the hall into two halves. The screen is carved with lifelike cranes, as if they will spread their wings and fly at any time. The seats in the hall are made of century-old spiritual wood, exuding a faint wood fragrance, which makes people feel peaceful. Ye Changsheng took the two of them to choose a window seat to sit down, from which they can overlook the beautiful scenery of the entire Jing'an fortress. After they sat down, the waiter respectfully handed over the menu. Ye Changsheng looked at the menu and saw that there were many delicacies made from rare spiritual materials, so he ordered several of his specialties one by one. Not long after, the delicacies were served one after another. The table was filled with delicious food with good color, fragrance, and taste. Each dish was carefully prepared. Not only did it taste great, it also contained rich spiritual energy, which could nourish the body and improve cultivation. Chapter 278 Yunxio Fairy Clothes. Sister, the spiritual vegetables here are not only delicious, but also have a certain auxiliary effect on cultivation. I hope you like it, Ye Changsheng said gently with a smile in his eyes. Lin Zirao nodded slightly, picked up a piece of crystal clear spiritual fish, and took a bite gently. The fish meat melted in her mouth, and the spiritual energy melted in her mouth, as if there was a warm current flowing in her body, which made her couldn't help but admire it. Lin Zirao saw the satisfied look on her sister's face, and she was secretly happy in her heart. She picked up a piece of spiritual chicken meat and handed it to Ye Changsheng's bowl and said with a smile, "Husband, you should eat more too." Ye Changsheng smiled and nodded, feeling warm in his heart. He knew that Lin Zirao's actions were nothing more than trying to show their feelings in front of her sister, and to let Lin Zirao feel at ease with him. Lin Zirao looked at this scene, and finally let go of the last bit of worry in her heart. She sighed softly, raised her glass to Ye Changsheng and said, "Ye Changsheng, on behalf of my father, I would like to thank you for your help. From now on, please take good care of my little sister." Ye Changsheng quickly raised his glass in return and said solemnly, "Don't worry, sister, I will spend my whole life protecting Zirao, and will never let her down." The three of them smiled at each other and drank the spiritual wine in the cup. The three of them ate and chatted, and the atmosphere gradually became relaxed and happy. Lin Zirao put down her chopsticks, took a sip of spiritual tea, and slowly said, "Zirao, this time you have made great contributions to the family, and my father specially sent me to Jing'an Fortress to replace you to serve. I will go to the Jing'an Fortress Command Center to handle the registration procedures in the next few days." Hearing this, Ye Changsheng and Lin Zirao smiled at each other at the same time. Lin Zirao put down the teacup in her hand and said gently, "Sister, there is no need to trouble you. Let me continue to serve." Lin Zirao was stunned when she heard this and asked in confusion, "Why don't you always want to go home?" Lin Zirao smiled and explained, "Because my husband has exchanged for me the privilege of not going to the battlefield for 10 years. So I can continue to stay in the Golden Light Fortress, completing my service without taking risks." Lin Zirao was shocked and looked at Ye Changsheng in disbelief. "Really? This privilege is not easy to get." Ye Changsheng smiled and nodded, and briefly explained the matter of the 4th level battleship. Lin Zirao suddenly realized, and had a new understanding of Ye Changsheng's strength. She couldn't help but sigh. "I didn't expect you to be so powerful, Changsheng." When the meal was coming to an end, Ye Changsheng suggested, "Since it's rare to get together, why don't we go shopping? Although Jing'an Fortress is a military stronghold, there are also many interesting shops." Lin Zirao's eyes lit up and nodded repeatedly. Okay, I haven't been shopping properly yet." Lin Zirao thought for a while and nodded in agreement. "Okay, I just want to see the local customs here." The three left Xianan Pavilion and strolled along the bustling streets. Although Jing'an Fortress is mainly military, it is also full of commercial atmosphere. There are all kinds of shops on both sides of the street, selling elixirs, magic tools, and spirit beasts. While walking, Ye Changsheng's eyes were attracted by a magic weapon shop. The shop is not big, but it is decorated in an antique style. There is a plaque hanging at the door with 3 large characters Xiangang Pavilion written in a flamboyant style. Ye Changsheng pointed at the shop and said with a smile, "This shop looks good. Let's go in and take a look." Lin Zero nodded excitedly, took her sister's hand, and walked in. Although Lin Zero remained calm on the surface, a glimmer of curiosity flashed in her eyes. As soon as she entered the door, Lin Zero's eyes were attracted by a robe hanging on the wall. It was a snow-white robe with light golden cloud patterns embroidered on the cuffs and collar, shining under the light. The most eye-catching thing was the embroidery of a golden phoenix flying high on the back, which was lifelike, as if it would fly out of the robe at the next moment. Lin Zero's eyes were straight, and she murmured, "It's so beautiful." Seeing this, Ye Changsheng immediately called the store owner. "Shopkeeper, please take down the white robe and let this girl try it." The shopkeeper quickly responded, carefully took down the robe, and handed it to Lin Zero respectfully. Lin Zero took the robe, caressed the soft fabric lovingly, and then couldn't wait to put it on. The robe seemed to be tailor-made for Lin Zero, perfectly outlining her graceful figure. The snow-white fabric made her skin look like jade, and the golden cloud pattern added a bit of nobility to her. The golden phoenix behind her complemented her temperament, as if she was the phoenix that was about to spread its wings and fly high. Lin Zero looked left and right at the bronze mirror, couldn't let it go, and her face was filled with a happy smile. Seeing this, Ye Changsheng felt warm in his heart, and immediately said to the shopkeeper, "We want this robe. How much spirit stones?" The shopkeeper said with a smile, "Young master, you have good taste. This U0027 Fengwu Jiu Shianu 0027 is a treasure of our store. It is not only beautiful, but also has extremely strong defensive power. It can block even the full strength attack of a purple mansion cultivator. The price, 5 million spirit stones." Ye Changsheng took out a storage bag without saying a word, and poured out 5 million spirit stones. Seeing this, Lin Zero hurriedly said, "Husband, this is too expensive." Ye Changsheng looked at her gently and smiled. "It's not expensive, as long as you like it." Lin Zero watched this scene from the side, with a trace of envy in her eyes. Ye Changsheng noticed it, and turned to her and said, "Sister Lin, you should also choose one. Just consider it as my gift to you." Lin Zero waved her hand quickly. "No, it's too expensive." Ye Changsheng insisted, "Sister, you don't have to be polite. Since you and I are already a family, you can't refuse this little gift." Seeing that Lin Zero was still hesitant, Ye Changsheng had an idea, and said to Lin Zero, "Zero, come and help me choose one." Lin Zero readily agreed, took her sister's hand, and walked around the store, and finally chose a light blue long skirt. This long skirt is simple and generous in style. The whole body is light blue like the sky, and there are a few white clouds embroidered on the hem, giving people a fresh and refined feeling. Lin Zero handed the long skirt to her sister and smiled. "Sister, try this one. I think it suits you very well." Lin Zero couldn't resist her sister's enthusiasm, so she had to take the long skirt and try it on. When she put on the long skirt and stood in front of the mirror, even she couldn't help but be stunned. The light blue dress highlights her cool and noble temperament, and the white clouds on the hem of the skirt seem to add a bit of elegance and agility to her. Ye Changsheng looked at Lin Zero in the mirror and praised sincerely, "Sister Lin, this robe really suits you." Lin Zero rarely showed a shy smile and said softly, "Thank you." Ye Changsheng turned to the shopkeeper again. "We also want this robe." Chapter 279 Fourth Order Flying Sword. The shopkeeper smiled and said, "Young master has good taste. Although this U0027 Young COO Immortal Closed U0027 looks light and elegant, its defensive power is not inferior to the one just now. The price is 6 million spiritual stones." Ye Changsheng took out 6 million spirit stones again without hesitation. Lin Zero wanted to stop it, but Ye Changsheng insisted, "Sister, this is my intention. Please don't refuse." Lin Zero felt warm in her heart when she heard Ye Changsheng's words, but she still hesitated. "This is too expensive." Ye Changsheng smiled gently and said, "Sister, there is no need to be so polite between you and me. This robe suits you very well. Just think of it as a little thought I gave you." Lin Zhao looked at Ye Changsheng's sincere eyes and finally nodded. Then, I will be disrespectful. Thank you, Changsheng, Lin. Zhao clapped her hands and said with a smile, great. Sister, you look so beautiful in this robe. At this moment, Lin Zhao's eyes were attracted by an item in the corner of the store. It was an exquisite crown. The whole body was crystal clear, as if it was carved from the finest crystal point. The crown was inlaid with several gems that shone with light blue light, emitting faint spiritual energy fluctuations. Lin Zhao exclaimed, this crown seems to be very similar to the one Shen Yufeng got at the last exchange meeting. Upon hearing this, Ye Changsheng immediately walked over and observed carefully. I could see the faint spiritual power flowing on the crown, which was obviously a good magic weapon. Seeing this, the shopkeeper smiled and introduced, young master has good eyesight. This U-0,027 Yuhua Guan U-0,027 is indeed a third level high grade magic weapon. It can not only enhance the wearer's mental power, but also form a protective shield in critical moments. Price it's 9 million spirit stones. Ye Changsheng looked at Lin Zhao's expectant eyes and understood. He smiled and said, then please ask the shopkeeper to wrap this U-0,027 Yuhua Guan U-0,027 too. Lin Zhao looked at Ye Changsheng in surprise. Changsheng, Ye Changsheng said gently, Ruoro, this magic weapon is very suitable for you. Just think of it as a gift from me. Lin Zhao was so moved that her eyes turned red and she said softly, thank you, Changsheng. The shopkeeper carefully wrapped the Yuhua crown and handed it to Ye Changsheng. After Ye Changsheng took it, he turned around and put it on Lin Zhao's head. Lin Zhao was seen wearing a moonflower crown on her head, and her whole body exuded a soft light like a faint moonlight, which made her skin like jade and her eyebrows like a painting, like a fairy from heaven coming to earth. Lin Zhao looked at her sister's appearance and couldn't help but admired. Ruoro, you look really beautiful wearing this tiara. Lin Zhao turned around happily and said with a smile, really? I like it so much. The three of them said goodbye to the shopkeeper and walked out of Xiangang Pavilion. The streets are still bustling and full of life. Ye Changsheng suddenly thought of something and said, by the way, let's go to a higher level magic weapon shop. I want to buy a 4th level magic weapon for my father-in-law as a meeting gift. Lin Zhao was a little surprised when she heard this. 4th level magic weapon? That is very precious. Ye Changsheng smiled and said, my father-in-law is highly virtuous and should be worthy of the best magic weapon. Let's go and take a look. The three of them asked passers-by and soon found a shop that specialized in selling high-end magic weapons. The store is called Xuanshan Pavilion, with a majestic facade and extraordinary momentum. As soon as you enter the door, the strong fluctuations of spiritual power that hit your face are frightening. A variety of rare magic weapons are displayed in the store, each of which exudes a powerful aura. Ye Changsheng said directly to the shopkeeper, I want a 4th level low grade flying sword. Do you have any recommendations? When the shopkeeper heard this, his eyes lit up, and he said respectfully, young master has good taste. I happen to have 3 low-grade 4th level flying swords here. Please come with me. The shopkeeper led the 3 people to a secret room, took out 3 exquisite sword boxes, and opened them one by one. The first flying sword is completely green, with faint cloud patterns flowing on the sword. The shopkeeper introduced, this U-0,027 King Iron Sword U-0,027 is good at riding the wind and is extremely fast. The second flying sword showed a deep blue color, as if it contained endless water power. The shopkeeper said, this U-0,027 Kanghei Sword U-0,027 is very powerful and is especially suitable for use in water. The third flying sword was red in color and exuded a fiery aura. The shopkeeper said, this U-0,027 flaming sword U-0,027 is the most powerful, but it also has the highest requirements for its users. Ye Changsheng carefully observed the 3 flying swords and finally pointed at the flame sword and said, just choose this one. I wonder what the price is. The shopkeeper smiled and said, young master has good taste. This flame sword U-0,027 is indeed the most precious among the 3. The price is 18 million spirit stones. Ye Changsheng took out the spirit stone without hesitation and paid the money happily. Then he took out an exquisite gift box from the storage bag and carefully placed the flame sword inside. Ye Changsheng handed the gift box to Lin Zirao and said sincerely, "Sister, this is the meeting gift I prepared for my father-in-law. Please pass it on to me." Lin Zirao took the gift box and felt the powerful power contained in it. She couldn't help but feel a little moved. "Changsheng, you are too polite. Father will be very happy when he knows." Lin Zirao also said from the side, "Yes, Changsheng, you are really good to our family." Ye Changsheng smiled and said, "This is what I should do. It is my honor to be the son-in-law of the Lin family." The three of them walked out of Zuanshan Pavilion, feeling very happy. Lin Zirao happily held her sister's arm and touched the moon crown on her head from time to time, with a happy smile on her face. The next day, Lin Zirao left the Golden Light Fortress with the gift Ye Changsheng bought. Ye Changsheng also hurriedly went back to refine the elixir. 2 months later, Shen Yufeng went out to do errands, and only Ye Changsheng and King Lianhang were left in Ye Changsheng's cave. After drinking tea, the two cuddled up together and talked about love. "Lan Hang, how about you give me a baby?" Ye Changsheng asked cautiously and tentatively. "Okay, King." Lianhang replied innocently. "Ah, you telling the truth?" Ye Changsheng asked a little excitedly. "Of course it's true. You are my husband. What's so true about me giving birth to your child, King?" Lianhang said, "Okay, then let's tonight." Ye Changsheng said, "Okay, tonight then, King." Lianhang said, "By the way, I have a pregnancy fruit. If you eat it, you will definitely get twins." Ye Changsheng said, "So magical. Then I'll try a few now, King." Lianhang said. The next day, Shen Yufeng came to see Ye Changsheng. "Is the pregnancy fruit you told Sister Lianhang yesterday really that effective?" Shen Yufeng said with a slightly red face. "Of course, when I bought it, the shopkeeper said he could 100% guarantee that they were twins." Ye Changsheng said carelessly, "Okay, give me a few, and we'll try it tonight." Shen Yufeng lowered her head and said, "Okay, hahaha, I'll find it for you now." Ye Changsheng said excitedly. Chapter 282 Years, Part 2. Time flies, and 2 years pass quietly in the blink of an eye. In the past 2 years, Ye Changsheng's cultivation has advanced by leaps and bounds, and he has just broken through to the 3rd floor of the Z mansion. This was due to the second immortal root fruit he took, which greatly accelerated his cultivation speed. Not only that, Ye Changsheng's attainments in alchemy have also made great progress. Now he is able to refine the barrier breaking pill with full elixirs, and the success rate of refining the golden pill can often reach more than 70%. This means that Ye Changsheng has grown into a qualified 2nd level high grade alchemist. Of course, Ye Changsheng's rapid progress is not only due to his own talent and hard work, but also due to his cultivation base in the Zifu period and the careful guidance of a 3rd level high grade alchemist. Yuan Hang worked tirelessly and imparted his many years of accumulated experience to help Ye Changsheng avoid many detours. On this day, when Ye Changsheng was concentrating on studying a new elixir recipe, he received a message paper talisman from Chu Yunnan. The paper charm said that an uncle from their sect was visiting and wanted to meet and talk with Ye Changsheng. Seeing this news, Ye Changsheng was not surprised or panicked. He knew in his heart that this visit was probably because of his relationship with Chu Yunnan and the fact that they already had a child. As a sect, it is impossible for Chu Yunnan's sect to ignore the marriage matters of its disciples. Thinking of this, Ye Changsheng couldn't help but recall everything that had happened in the past 2 years during this time. His women all gave birth to lovely twins for him. This is thanks to the magical pregnancy fruit, which not only ensures a 100% pregnancy rate, but also guarantees twins every time. Shen Yufeng gave birth to the 25-year-old Ye Shengqi and the 26-year-old Ye Shengru. The 2 children were lively and cute, and brought countless laughter to the family. King Lianhang gave birth to the 27th-year-old Ye Shenglin and the 28th-year-old Ye Shengtao. The 2 children were smart and loved by Ye Changsheng. Lin Zirao gave birth to 29-year-old Ye Shenglin and 30-year-old Ye Shengaiu. She was the little naughty kid in the family and always brought unexpected surprises to everyone. Liu Ruan gave birth to the 31st-year-old Ye Changsheng and the 32nd-year-old Ye Changtang. Mirren King gave birth to the 33rd-year-old Ye Changlan and the 34th-year-old Ye Changyu. Suyurao gave birth to the 35th-year-old Ye Changfei and the 36th-year-old Ye Changsheng. Chu Yunnan gave birth to the 37th-old Ye Changjin and the 38th-old Ye Changxi. Hua Jiayu gave birth to 39-year-old Ye Changshen, 40-year-old Ye Changlui. After Ye Changsheng received the message from Chu Yunnan, he immediately put down the alchemy in his hand and walked out of the alchemy room quickly. He patted his robe lightly to make sure there was no medicinal powder on it, and then used his body skills to gallop towards Chu Yunnan's cave. Not long after Ye Changsheng arrived outside Chu Yunnan's cave. He took a deep breath, straightened his appearance, and then pushed the door open and entered. As soon as he entered the cave, Ye Changsheng heard the cry of a baby. He looked around and saw two maids coaxing two lovely babies. Those were his and Chu Yunnan's children, Ye Changjin and Ye Changxi. Seeing their father's arrival, the two little guys immediately stopped crying and looked at Ye Changsheng curiously with their big watery eyes. Ye Changsheng couldn't help but smile lovingly, stepped forward and gently stroked the two children's little heads. "Sir, the lady is waiting for you in the living room," the maid on the side said respectfully. Ye Changsheng nodded and walked towards the living room. As soon as he entered the door, he saw a middle-aged Taoist priest sitting on the main seat. The man looked about 50 years old, with a thin face and a bit of majesty between his brows. He was wearing a light blue Taoist robe with a purple jade pendant hanging around his waist. He was obviously a monk in the late Zifu period. Seeing Ye Changsheng come in, Chu Yunnan quickly stood up and introduced, "Changsheng, this is my uncle Mu Qinghua. Uncle, this is Ye Changsheng." Ye Changsheng bowed respectfully and said, "Junior Ye Changsheng has met senior Mu Qinghua nodded slightly and said, "I've heard about Ye Xiaoyao's name for a long time, but when I see him today, he is indeed extraordinary. Please sit down." After Ye Changsheng thanked him, he sat down, and Chu Yunnan poured tea for the two of them. The three of them drank a few sips of tea, and Mu Qinghua said straight to the point, "Ye Xiaoyao, I'm here today to deal with the issue of Yun Yan's departure. Our sect has regulations. If a disciple wants to become a Taoist companion with an outsider, he needs to make a choice. Either stay in the sect or leave the sect. I don't know what you think about it." Ye Changsheng and Chu Yunnan looked at each other, and Chu Yunnan had a questioning look in his eyes. Ye Changsheng knew clearly. He knew that Chu Yunnan was more inclined to leave the sect, but he was worried about his thoughts. Ye Changsheng pondered for a moment and said, "Reporting to senior, Yun Yan and I have discussed this matter. We have decided to leave the sect. I wonder what kind of compensation your sect needs." Mu Qinghua nodded and said, "In that case, let's follow the sect rules. Under normal circumstances, leaving the sect requires 5 times the training fee as compensation. However, Yunnan's master has interceded for her, and only 3 times is enough." Ye Changsheng asked, "I wonder if your sect needs spiritual stones or other materials?" Mu Qinghua asked curiously, "What do you mean by other materials?" Ye Changsheng replied, "For example, some pills. I can provide the middle grade Zifu pill, the Yuchen pill that helps the Zifu break through from the early stage to the middle Zifu stage, and the Jade Dao pill that helps the middle stage Zifu break through to the late stage. Jade the Chundan is worth 550,000 spirit stones, the Jade Dao pill is 1.45 million spirit stones, and the middle grade Zifu pill is worth 2.9 million spirit stones." Mu Qinghua's eyes lit up and he said, "In that case, let's order the pills at a total price of 30 million spirit stones. I'll give priority to the purple mansion pill." Ye Changsheng nodded and said, "Okay, then 7 mid-grade purple mansion pills, 5 Yuchen pills and 5 Udao pills, for a total price of 30.3 million spirit stones." As he spoke, Ye Changsheng took out a jade box from his storage bag, put the pills in it, and handed it to Mu Qinghua. Mu Qinghua took the jade box, checked it carefully, and showed a satisfied smile on his face. "Young friend Ye is indeed wealthy, and these pills are rare items." Mu Qinghua exclaimed. Ye Changsheng said modestly, "It's just some business and some accumulation." Mu Qinghua nodded. took out a small soul lamp from his arms, handed it to Chu Yunyan, and said, Yunyan, this is your soul lamp. From now on, you will officially leave our sect. I hope you can grow old with Ye Xiaoyao in the future, and don't let down the cultivation of the master. Chu Yunyan took the soul lamp, and a trace of reluctance flashed in her eyes, but soon she became firm. She bowed respectfully to Mu Qinghe and said, thank you, uncle. I will never forget the kindness of the master. Mu Qinghe nodded with relief, and turned to Ye Changsheng and said, Ye Xiaoyao, Yunyan grew up in our sect since she was a child. Now I entrust her to you. I hope you can treat her well. Ye Changsheng said solemnly, don't worry senior, I will cherish Yunyan and never let her down. Chapter 281 7 Color Fruit. Mu Qinghe nodded with satisfaction, stood up and said, now that the matter has been settled, I will take my leave. I wish you a smooth road and an early promotion. Ye Changsheng and Chu Yunyan stood up to see each other off, and watched Mu Qinghe leave a cave. After Mu Qinghe left, Chu Yunyan breathed a sigh of relief, leaned into Ye Changsheng's arms and said, Changsheng, thank you. Ye Changsheng caressed Chu Yunyan's hair and said softly, fool, what are you talking about? Thank you. You and I are one, so there is no difference between you and me. Chu Yunyan looked up at Ye Changsheng, her eyes full of tenderness. Just then, the baby's cry sounded again. Ye Changsheng and Chu Yunyan smiled at each other, and walked towards the children together, looking at the cute little lips. Their hearts were filled with happiness and expectation. A month later, Ye Changsheng, who was reading Daozang, received a message from Mirren King asking him to accompany him to an exchange meeting. Ye Changsheng immediately sent out a message paper charm, and agreed to her in a blink of an eye. The day of the exchange meeting is here. In the early morning, Ye Changsheng got up early, washed himself briefly, put on a decent robe, and went to the appointed place to wait for Mirren King. The sunshine in early summer is warm but not hot, and the breeze blows through the treetops, bringing a refreshing breath. Ye Changsheng stood in the square outside the exchange venue, looking at the monks arriving one after another, and couldn't help but feel a little expectant in his heart. This is the largest exchange meeting he has ever attended in Golden Light Fortress, and there must be many rare treasures present. Not long after, a beautiful figure appeared in sight. Mirren King was seen wearing a lavender dress, with her hair tied up in a high bun, and a few strands of blue silk hanging down her temples, making her even more playful and cute. She held an exquisite folding fan and walked lightly towards Ye Changsheng. Changsheng, have you been waiting for a long time? Mirren King asked with a smile. Ye Changsheng smiled and shook his head. I just arrived not long ago. You are very beautiful today. Mirren King blushed and patted Ye Changsheng's arm gently. Glib. Let's go in. After saying that, she naturally took Ye Changsheng's arm, and the two of them walked towards the entrance of the venue together. The exchange meeting venue is located in a huge palace, and the magnificent hall can accommodate thousands of people. After Ye Changsheng and Mirren King entered, they couldn't help but be shocked by the sight in front of them. More than 500 monks have gathered in the huge hall, and the atmosphere is lively. The host stood on the high platform and announced the rules with a spiritual loudspeaker. Fellow Taoists, welcome to this exchange meeting. Due to the large number of participants, we will screen the Taoist friends who want to go on stage to display the treasures. Interested Taoists are asked to register in the audience. We will conduct a preliminary evaluation of the treasures. Only treasures that pass the evaluation can be displayed on stage. Registration starts now. Interested Taoists, please line up. Ye Changsheng turned to Mirren King and asked, do you have any treasures you want to exchange? Mirren King shook her head. I'm just here to join in the fun. I don't want anything in particular. What about you? Ye Changsheng smiled and said, I don't have anything in particular that I want to change, but I can see if there are any unexpected gains. Let's take a look below. The two of them found a seat with a good view and sat down, waiting for the exchange meeting to officially begin. After some screening, more than 90 monks were finally qualified to perform on stage. The host announced that the transaction had officially begun, and the first monk stepped onto the high platform. I have a third-grade high-grade water repellent bead below. It can breathe and move freely underwater, and it lasts for up to 3 hours. If you want to exchange it for a defensive magic weapon, the quality is enough. The monk said loudly. Several monks in the audience immediately expressed interest and began to bargain with him. The time for 2 sticks of incense passed quickly and another monk came on stage. This time it was a beautiful female cultivator holding an exquisite jade box in her hand. Fellow Taoists, the little girl has a 7-faced fruit here. This fruit is a 3rd level middle grade spiritual fruit. After taking it, it can delay the woman's aging for 200 years and maintain her youthful beauty. The little girl wants to exchange for a piece that breaks through the middle stage of the Zifu treasure. As soon as this statement came out, there was an uproar in the audience. Many female cultivators showed eager expressions, and even Miranking couldn't help but sit up straight, her eyes shining with excitement. Seeing this, Ye Changsheng asked softly, "Do you want it, Mirang?" King nodded. "This kind of spiritual fruit is rare, but I don't have anything suitable to exchange." Ye Changsheng smiled slightly. "Let me change it for you." With that said, he stood up and walked to the stage. "Fellow Taoist, how about I exchange a Yachan pill for your Qian fruit?" The female cultivator was overjoyed when she heard this. "Yachan pill? That is the best choice to break through the middle stage of Zifu. Okay, I agree to the exchange." The to quickly completed the deal. Ye Changsheng returned to his seat with the jade box containing the Qian fruit and handed it to Miranking. "Here you go, Mirang." King took the jade box in surprise, her eyes full of gratitude. "Thank you, Changsheng." Ye Changsheng smiled and shook his head. "It's just a small matter." After another time of burning incense, a middle-aged monk with a gloomy expression walked onto the high platform. He took out a few small bottles and said, "I have some seeds of the 3rd level high-grade bloodthirsty vine here, and I want to exchange them for some panacea." Ye Changsheng's eyes lit up. The devil's ivy in his house is only a 3rd level low-grade one, so it can be improved with this kind of seed. So he stood up again and exchanged 1,000 life fruit for the seeds of the bloodthirsty vine. Just as Ye Changsheng sat down, a middle-aged Taoist wearing a tall crown walked up to them. When Miranking saw the person coming, her face changed slightly and she whispered to Ye Changsheng, "Changsheng, this is our Moonlight Sect's law enforcement elder, Zhang Yufang." Ye Changsheng's heart moved, but his face remained calm. He smiled slightly, stood up and bowed, saying, "It turns out to be Elder Zhang. I have heard of your great name for a long time." Zhang Yufang nodded. His eyes swept between Ye Changsheng and Miranking and smiled slightly, saying, "This is fellow Daoist Ye, right? It turns out that you are young and promising, Mirang." King also stood up and saluted to Zhang Yufang. "Elder Zhang." Zhang Yufang waved his hand, indicating that the two without much ceremony. He said straight to the point, "Miranking, the headmaster has agreed to your leaving the sect. But according to the rules, you need to return the resources used to train you." Mirang King nodded slightly, looking a little nervous. "How many spirit stones are needed?" Zhang Yufang pondered for a moment and said, "After calculation, it will take about 12 million spirit stones. But because your master tried his best to fight for you, this time the headmaster decided to only take back the resources used to train you." Mirang King felt relieved when she heard this, but still looked at Ye Changsheng with some worry. Ye Changsheng smiled slightly and said without hesitation, 12 million spirit stones? No problem." As he said this, he took out 12 storage bags filled with spirit stones from his arms and handed them to Zhang Yufang respectfully. "Here are 1.2 million middle grade spirit stones, equivalent to 12 million low grade spirit stones. Please count them, Elder Zhang." Chapter 282, 50 million spirit stones. Zhang Yufang was a little surprised. He didn't expect Ye Changsheng to be so cheerful. He took the storage bag and checked it briefly. After confirming that it was correct, he nodded and said, "Yes, the number is correct." Ye Changsheng took out another jade box and offered it with both hands. "This is a middle grade Zifu pill, which is a little tribute from this junior to the Moonlight Sect. I would like to thank your sect for nurturing Miranking over the years." Zhang Yufang was even more surprised and praised repeatedly. "Young Master Yi is really generous and considerate. No wonder he is favored by junior nephew Mirang." He accepted the Zifu pill took out a small soul lamp from his arms, and handed it to Mirren King. This is your soul lamp. From now on, you will officially leave the Moonlight sect. Mirren King took the soul lamp and felt relieved. This soul lamp has always been the most worrying thing for her. Now that she finally got it back, she felt extremely relieved. Thank you, Elder Zhang. Mirren King bowed respectfully. Zhang Mufang nodded, gave a few more instructions, and then left. After Zhang Mufang walked away, Mirren King breathed a long sigh of relief and said softly, "Thank you, Changsheng." Ye Changsheng smiled slightly and held her hand. "There is no need to say thank you between us." The two looked at each other with a tacit understanding in their hearts. Later, they also left the swap meet. One day 3 months later, Ye Changsheng was practicing and suddenly received a message paper talisman from Liu Ruan. He opened it and saw that it was Liu Ruan's brother Liu Ruhei who invited the two of them to a spiritual feast. Ye Changsheng looked at the time and found that it was not far from the appointed time, so he immediately packed up and rushed to Liu Ruan's cave. Arriving at Liu Ruan's cave, Ye Changsheng knocked on the door gently. After a while, Liu Ruan opened the door with a gentle smile on his face. "Changsheng, you are here." Ye Changsheng nodded and said with a smile, "Well, it's time for us to set off, right?" Liu Ruan said softly, "HMM." And then the two of them left the cave together and went straight to the agreed upon Immortal Banquet residence. Xianyangju is located on a mountain peak full of spiritual energy, surrounded by clouds and mist, and the fairy spirit is floating in the air. As soon as Ye Changsheng and Liu Ruan entered, they saw a handsome young monk sitting in front of a sandalwood table. This is Liu Ruhei, Liu Ruan's brother whom he met before. Ye Changsheng took a step forward, smiled and saluted. "Brother Liu, long time no see." Liu Ruhei quickly returned the greeting with a smile. "Brother Ye, long time no see. Please sit down." After the three of them sat down, Liu Ruhei ordered the waiter to serve the food. Soon, dishes of immortal delicacies were placed on the table, and the aroma was overflowing. After 3 rounds of wine and 5 flavors of food, Liu Ruhei took out an exquisite jade box from his arms and handed it to Ye Changsheng and Liu Ruan. "This is the Baopali specially prepared for my 2 nephews and nieces. After taking it, not only can it strengthens the body and stimulates the spiritual roots in advance, which is very useful." Ye Changsheng and Liu Ruan were overjoyed when they heard this and thanked them repeatedly. "Brother Liu is so polite. I would like to thank you on behalf of my nephew and niece." Ye Changsheng said, "You're welcome. This is what I should do as an uncle." Ye Changsheng carefully took the jade box, secretly grateful to Liu Ruhei for his thoughtfulness. However, at this moment, Liu Ruhei's face suddenly darkened, and he sighed and said, "Actually, I have invited you here today because I have something important to say." Ye Changsheng and Liu Ruan looked at each other, and both saw a trace of doubt and worry in each other's eyes. Liu Ruhei continued, "Somehow the news about Ruan giving birth to a child spread out, and the sect found out. The sect investigated Ye Changsheng's background in detail for this purpose, and found that brother Ye, you are very rich." Ye Changsheng's heart sank, and he vaguely guessed something. Sure enough, Liu Ruhei continued, "The sect plans to ask brother Ye to give you the spirit stone to redeem Ruan's soul lamp in the sect." Hearing this, Ye Changsheng couldn't help but feel a little annoyed. He didn't expect that this sect would buy and sell disciples so nakedly. Liu Ruhei seemed to notice Ye Changsheng's displeasure and quickly explained, "It's all my fault that I was poisoned in the first place, and that's why my brother-in-law's net worth was exposed." Liu Ruan shook his head and comforted, "Brother, I can't blame you. Changsheng opened a pill shop in the Golden Light Fortress, and the income is very considerable every time. This kind of thing cannot be hidden at all." Ye Changsheng took a deep breath, calmed down, and asked, "I wonder how many spiritual stones the sect requires?" Liu Ruhei looked troubled. After my repeated pleas, the sect finally offered a price that was 5 times the cost of cultivating Ruan, which is 50 million spiritual stones. "What?" Liu Ruan was furious when he heard this, slapped the table and stood up. Apart from some collective benefits in the sect, the rest is either you help me, brother, or I earn from doing tasks myself. No matter how you calculate it, you can't use 10 million spiritual stones. The sect is too unkind. Ye Changsheng reached out and gently pressed Liu Ruan's shoulder, signaling her to calm down. Then he said to Liu Ruhei, actually, I had expected it, but don't worry, I don't care about this spiritual stone yet. As he said that, Ye Changsheng took out a bulging storage bag from his arms and handed it to Liu Ruhei. There are 5 million middle grade spiritual stones in it, which is exactly 50 million low grade spiritual stones. Brother Liu, please give it to the sect for me. Liu Ruhei and Liu Ruan were both stunned by Ye Changsheng's generosity. Liu Ruhei took the storage bag and felt a heavy weight inside it. He couldn't help but sigh. Brother Ye is really rich. No wonder he is favored by my sister. Ye Changsheng smiled slightly and said, Brother Liu, you are too kind. Ruyan is extremely important to me, and this little spiritual stone is nothing. When Liu Ruan heard this, her heart warmed, and she held Ye Changsheng's hand. Seeing this, Liu Ruhei smiled and shook his head. Okay, now that the matter has been resolved, let's continue to enjoy the wine and food. Come, I toast Brother Ye. The three of them clinked their glasses, and after drinking, the atmosphere gradually became relaxed. They talked about many experiences in cultivation, and until night fell, this gathering with ulterior motives ended successfully. After the dinner, the three walked out of Xian'anju and strolled along the bustling street. Night had fallen, but the street was still bustling, and the lights of various shops illuminated the entire street. Suddenly, Ye Changsheng noticed that the door of the Holy Dao auction house not far away was unusually lively, and a large number of cultivators were pouring in. He thought about it, and turned to Liu Ruhei and Liu Ruan and said, it seems that Shengdao auction house will have a big move tonight. It's a rare opportunity, why don't we go in and see it? Liu Ruhei's eyes lit up and smiled. Good idea. I haven't attended an auction for a long time, so it's a good opportunity to see what new things there are. Liu Ruyan also nodded in agreement. I heard that Shengdao auction house always has rare treasures in every auction. We really should go and see it. Chapter 283, 6-in-1 Mysterious Heaven Shield. The three of them reached an agreement and headed towards the auction house. After entering the auction house, Ye Changsheng was shocked by the scene in front of him. The spacious hall was crowded with people. He roughly counted them. Not counting the number of people in the private rooms, there were as many as 5,000 or 6,000 people in the hall alone. It seems that tonight's auction is indeed unusual. Ye Changsheng whispered to Liu Ruhei beside him. Liu Ruhei nodded in agreement. It can attract so many people. I guess the treasures auctioned tonight are not simple. The three of them found a place to sit down. Not long after, the auction officially began. A white-haired old man walked up to the auction table. He was the auctioneer tonight. The old man was energetic and his eyes were sharp. It was obvious that he was an experienced veteran. The old man cleared his throat and said, Dear Taoist friends, welcome to the Holy Dao auction house. We have prepared many rare treasures tonight, and I believe that you will be satisfied. Let's start the auction tonight. As the old man finished speaking, the first item was brought up. At the beginning, the items auctioned were all third level low quality treasures, such as elixirs, magic weapons, etc. Although the quality was good, it was not too rare for the cultivators present. Gradually, the grade of the treasures auctioned began to improve, and third level medium quality treasures appeared one after another. Ye Changsheng, Liu Ruhei and Liu Ruan were all dazzled by the sight, and each item was exciting. The most eye-catching one was a combat puppet. This puppet was silver white and slender, like a warrior in armor. The auctioneer introduced that this puppet was not only extremely powerful, but also able to cast a variety of spells, which could be called an offensive and defensive weapon. For a while, many cultivators were eager to try this puppet. Then, a third level medium quality dragon beast pet was pushed up. This dragon was blue-green all over, and its scales shone with a metallic luster. The auctioneer said that this dragon could not only swim like a fish in water, but also ride the wind, making it a rare and high quality mount. Many cultivators were attracted by it, and the bidding became extremely fierce for a while. Then, a set of 3rd level top quality formations called 10-sided killing sword formation caused a sensation among the cultivators. This formation is composed of 10 flying swords. Once the arrangement is completed, it can form a killing formation with a radius of 100 meters. The sword energy in the formation is so powerful that even a 3rd level peak cultivator would find it difficult to escape. Representatives of many forces have shown great interest in this formation. What is even more surprising is that a 4th level golden mad lion's egg appeared at the auction. The golden mad lion is the best among the 4th level monsters. It is extremely powerful, has amazing speed, and has an indestructible body. If it can be successfully cultivated, it will undoubtedly be a great help. As soon as the beast egg came out, it immediately triggered a fight between dragons and tigers, and was finally bought by a mysterious guest in a private room at a sky-high price. Just when Ye Changsheng thought the auction had reached its climax, the auctioneer threw another heavy bomb. A top level 3rd level shield. The shield is deep blue all over, and the surface is engraved with complex runes. The auctioneer introduced this shield is called U-00027 Liu Zuanshan Shield U-00027, which is a rare defensive treasure. Its biggest feature is that it can be differentiated into 6 shields in critical moments to protect the user from all directions. Its strong defense is the top among the 3rd level magic weapons, second only to the 3rd level ancient treasures. Hearing this introduction, all the cultivators present were shocked. In the world of cultivation, defensive magic weapons have always been the most popular. After all, saving one's life is the first priority of a cultivator. Such a top level defensive magic weapon naturally caused a frenzy of bidding among the crowd. Ye Changsheng's heart moved when he heard this. He remembered that Liu Ruhei often had to go to the battlefield and was in danger of his life. If he had such a defensive magic weapon, it would undoubtedly greatly increase his chances of survival. Thinking of this, Ye Changsheng joined the auction without hesitation. 4 million spirit stones. Ye Changsheng offered the first price, 4.5 million, 5 million, 5.5 million. The bidding sounds around him came one after another, and the price soon broke through the 7 million mark. Ye Changsheng gritted his teeth and raised his sign again, 8 million. This price discouraged many people, but there were still a few who continued to bid unwillingly. Finally, when Ye Changsheng shouted 12 million, the whole audience fell into a brief silence. The auctioneer shouted 3 times in a row, and when no one answered, he announced the deal. After the auction, Ye Changsheng got the Liu Zuanshan shield. Without saying anything, he handed the shield to Liu Ruhei. Brother Liu, I'll give it to you. Liu Ruhei was shocked and waved his hands. How can this be? This is a magic weapon worth tens of millions. Ye Changsheng was determined. Brother Liu, you often have to go to the battlefield, which is full of dangers. With this shield, I can feel a little more at ease. Just think of it as a little gift from Ruan and me. Liu Ruan also persuaded. Yes, brother. Just accept it. With this shield, Changsheng and I can worry less. Faced with the insistence of Ye Changsheng and Liu Ruan, Liu Ruhei finally accepted this generous gift. He solemnly took the shield and said gratefully, Brother Ye Ruan, thank you. I, Liu Ruhei, will remember this friendship in my heart. The 3 of them smiled at each other, all with a warm heart. As the auction progressed, the next items were all top grade 3rd level items, which made Ye Changsheng, Liu Ruhei and Liu Ruan linger. Each item showed extraordinary quality and unique effects, which made the monks present compete for bids. There was a top grade 3rd level 9 clouds thunder talisman, which was said to be able to summon thunder to help in battle. With amazing power. There was also a set of 5-element escape method, which allowed monks to come and go freely in the 5-element, which could be called a life-saving skill. There was also a 1000-mile sound transmission jade, which could transmit messages across thousands of miles, which was extremely practical for large sects. These items were all top grade items, and each one triggered fierce bidding. Although Ye Changsheng and the other 2 did not participate in the auction, they also watched with great interest. and discussed the wonderful uses of each treasure in a low voice from time to time. Just when everyone thought the auction had come to an end, the auctioneer suddenly smiled mysteriously and announced, "Next, we will auction a heavy item. I believe it will surprise everyone present." As soon as the voice fell, a pleasant bell rang. I saw a snow-white Pegasus with 4 wings on its back slowly walking into the auction hall. Behind this Pegasus was an exquisite phoenix pavilion, and the overall shape was like a phoenix spreading its wings and about to fly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 284, Phoenix Flying to the Sky. The auctioneer introduced loudly, "Everyone, this is our grand finale today. U-0,027 Fengluan Fishan Pavilion U-0,027. This is not an ordinary car, but a top-notch magic weapon that integrates mobility, residence, and defense." Following the auctioneer's introduction, the monks present were all amazed. I saw that the whole body of the Phoenix Pavilion was pale golden, inlaid with various colored gems, shining under the light. Exquisite wind chimes hang on the eaves of the attic, swaying in the wind and making sweet sounds. The auctioneer continued, "This Phoenix Pavilion is not only gorgeous on the outside, but also unique on the inside. Please allow me to introduce it to you in detail." With that said, he opened the door of Feng Pavilion. Everyone saw that the pavilion was spacious and elegantly decorated. In the center is a large living room surrounded by carved sandalwood furniture. On one side of the living room is an exquisite bedroom, and on the other side is a fully equipped alchemy room. The auctioneer introduced, "This Phoenix Pavilion has its own space inside, which is much larger than it looks from the outside. In addition to what you see, there are also bathrooms, storage rooms and other facilities. What's even better is that the entire building is Fengj, comes with multiple formations, including a floating formation, which allows Fengj to fly stably in the air. There are defensive formations that can withstand the full blow of a 3rd level peak monk. There are also rain and windproof formations that will keep you safe in bad weather." Everyone nodded after hearing this, praising the practicality of this Phoenix Pavilion. The auctioneer added, "In addition, Fengj also comes with dozens of auxiliary magical instruments. For example, this tea set can automatically make tea. This mirror can check the external situation at any time. This lamp can, according to the owner, adjusts the brightness and color according to his will." Just as everyone was marveling at the exquisiteness of Feng Pavilion, the auctioneer directed their attention to the 4-winged Pegasus. "Everyone, please look at this divine flying horse. It is not an ordinary spiritual beast, but a 4-winged flying horse that has been cultivated to the late stage of Zifu." As soon as this statement came out, the whole place was in an uproar. Generally, monsters in the later stages of the Z Mansion are already very valuable. What's more, it's a rare breed like the 4-winged Pegasus. I saw that the Pegasus was all white, and its hair was smooth and shiny, like fine silk. Its 4 hooves are pale gold, leaving a golden light trail with every step it takes. The most eye-catching thing is the 4 wings on its back. The feathers are as white as snow and slightly shimmering with pearls. They look sacred and luxurious. The auctioneer continued, "This 4-winged Pegasus is not only beautiful in appearance, but also a rare good horse. It flies extremely fast, with a maximum speed of 3 times the speed of sound. Its endurance is amazing, and it can fly for 3 days and 3 nights in a row. It doesn't get tired. What's even more rare is that it has a docile temperament, and is very easy to tame." Hearing this, many female monks showed longing expressions. The 4-winged Pegasus is not only an excellent vehicle, but also a mythical beast recognized in the world of cultivation. Owning one can greatly enhance a monk's status. The auctioneer concluded, "Everyone, this set of U-0,027 Fengluan Fishan Pavilion U-0,027 can be said to be a mobile luxury palace. Whether you are on the road or practicing in seclusion, it is the best choice. Now, I announce the start of the bidding, with a starting price of 20 million soul stone." As Soon as this statement came out, the whole place was excited. Although the starting price of 20 million spirit stones is not low, it is a very reasonable price for such a top-notch car. When Liu Ruan heard the price, his eyes suddenly lit up. She held Ye Changsheng's arm tightly and looked at him with expectant eyes, a look I really wanted. Ye Changsheng was amused by her cute appearance, touched her hair lovingly, and said softly, "Ruan, if you like it, I will take a picture of it for you." Liu Ruan was overjoyed when she heard this and nodded repeatedly. "Really? That's great. Thank you, brother Changsheng." Liu Ruhei on the side couldn't help but widen his eyes when he heard this. He didn't expect Ye Changsheng to be so generous, buying treasures with a starting price of 20 million at any time. At this moment, people in the auction room started bidding. 21 million, 23 million, 25 million. The price soon exceeded the 30 million mark. Seeing this, Ye Changsheng also joined the bidding. 35 million. Ye Changsheng shouted in a deep voice. His bid immediately silenced many people. After all, the price increase of 5 million shows extremely strong strength and determination. However, others soon followed suit. 36 million, 38 million, 40 million. Prices were pushed higher again. Seeing this, Ye Changsheng raised his sign again. 45 million. This time, the pace of bidding slowed down significantly. There are only a few people left who can continue to bid at this price. 46 million. A hoarse voice sounded. 47 million. Another clear female voice followed. Ye Changsheng pondered for a moment and raised his sign again. 50 million. As soon as the price came out, the audience suddenly became quiet. 50 million spirit stones is already an extremely astonishing number. Even some medium-sized sects may not be able to produce so many spiritual stones. However, just as the auctioneer was about to announce the deal, a deep male voice suddenly sounded. 52 million. Ye Changsheng couldn't help but frowned when he heard this. He turned to look in the direction of the sound and saw a middle-aged man with an extraordinary temperament. The man also noticed Ye Changsheng's gaze and smiled at him, with a hint of provocation flashing in his eyes. When Ye Changsheng saw this, he understood in his heart. It seems that this person is here for him and wants to test his bottom line. Thinking of this, Ye Changsheng's lips curved into a smile. Since the other person wants to play, just play with him. 55 million. Ye Changsheng said unhurriedly. The middle-aged man obviously did not expect Ye Changsheng to be so decisive. He was stunned for a moment before responding. 57 million. Ye Changsheng took his time and continued to increase the price. 60 million. The middle-aged man was silent for a long time this time and finally gritted his teeth and said, 62 million. Ye Changsheng looked at the excited Liu Ruan beside him. His heart softened and he decided to fight quickly. 65 million. Ye Changsheng shouted in a deep voice, with unquestionable firmness in his tone. As soon as this price was announced, the whole audience was in an uproar. Even the middle-aged man looked shocked. He stared at Ye Changsheng for a long time and finally shook his head helplessly and gave up the bidding. Seeing this, the auctioneer announced excitedly, 65 million once, 65 million twice, 65 million 3 times. Deal. Congratulations to this young master for successfully bidding U0027 Fengluan Fishan Pavilion U0027. As the auctioneer's hammer fell, the audience burst into warm applause. Many people looked at Ye Changsheng with admiration, impressed by his financial resources and courage. Chapter 285 40 to level 3 Fire Crows. Liu Ruan hugged Ye Changsheng's arm excitedly, with tears of happiness in her eyes. Brother Changsheng, thank you. I'm so happy. Ye Changsheng scratched her nose lovingly and said softly, silly girl, as long as you like it, this little thing is nothing. Liu Ruhei, who was watching this scene, was moved and shocked. He didn't expect that Ye Changsheng would spend a lot of money to buy this car for 65 million spirit stones to make his sister happy. This friendship deeply touched him. At this moment, the middle-aged man came over and bowed to Ye Changsheng, saying, I'm Jiang Yun, thank you for letting me take over. What is your name? Ye Changsheng smiled calmly and replied, Ye Changsheng. Brother Jiang is too polite. I should be the one to let me take over, Jiang. Yun heard this, and a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. It turns out to be little friend Yi. I have heard of your great name for a long time. Today, I see that your reputation is well deserved. I hope to have a chance to learn from little friend Yi in the future. Yi Changsheng nodded and agreed. If Brother Jiang is interested, you are welcome at any time. The two exchanged a few more pleasantries, and then Jiang Yun said goodbye and left point after the auction. Ye Changsheng brought Liu Ruhei and Liu Ruan to the backstage to handle the handover procedures for U-0027 Fengluan Fishan Pavilion U-0027. When the four-winged Pegasus rubbed Liu Ruan's hand intimately, the girl's face was filled with a happy smile. Seeing his sister's happy look, Liu Ruhei said with emotion, Brother Yi, thank you so much. I will remember everything you have done for Ruan. Ye Changsheng smiled and shook his head. Brother Liu, you are too kind. Ruan is my relative, and all of this is what I should do. The three of them smiled at each other, and all of them were warm in their hearts. A month later, when Ye Changsheng came to the merit exchange office of Jingguan Fortress, it was afternoon. The sun shone through the window onto the ground, coating the entire room with a layer of golden light. He first walked to the counter and showed his identity certificate to the staff. The staff nodded respectfully, obviously very familiar with Ye Changsheng. A frequent customer, Mr. Yi, what do you want to exchange today? The staff asked with a smile. Ye Changsheng pondered for a moment and said, I want to exchange the privilege of not going to the battlefield for 10 years for Shen Yufeng and King Lian Hong. The staff heard this and looked at Ye Changsheng with a little surprise. This kind of long-term privilege exchange is not common and requires a lot of merit points. However, he quickly regained his professional attitude and began to operate the system to redeem. Mr. Yi, the 5-year privilege you redeemed for them before will expire in 1 year. This time, it is indeed a wise choice to directly redeem it for 10 years. The staff said while operating. Ye Changsheng nodded. With a hint of tenderness in his eyes, he knew what Shen Yufeng and King Lian Hong meant to him, and these merit points were nothing. Then, Ye Changsheng took out a note from his arms, with more than a dozen names densely written on it. These are all members of the Golden Light Club, elites selected by him personally. Please help me redeem the privilege of not going to the battlefield for 1 month for each person according to this list. Ye Changsheng handed the note to the staff. The staff took the note, checked it carefully, and then began to operate one by one. In the process, he couldn't help but sigh. Mr. Yi, you really take good care of the members of the Golden Light Club. Ye Changsheng smiled slightly and didn't say much. In fact, the Golden Light Club has developed rapidly in the past year and has expanded from the initial few people to more than 100 members among them. Shen says operation contributed greatly. He cleverly used various resources and connections to attract a large number of excellent monks for the Golden Light Society. As the founder of the Golden Light Society, Ye Changsheng secretly invested a lot of resources. He knew how precious these monks who had experienced the test of life and death were, so he spared no effort to support the development of the Golden Light Society. When the staff completed the exchange of all privileges, Ye Changsheng did not leave. He pondered for a moment and said, I also want to exchange 150 fire attribute demon pills of the early stage of the Purple Mansion. When the staff heard this number, they couldn't help but take a breath. Even in the merit exchange place, such a large number of high-level demon pills are extremely rare. Mr. Yi, are you sure you want to exchange so many? The staff confirmed carefully. Ye Changsheng nodded and said, yes, that's the number. Looking at the busy figures of the staff, Ye Changsheng's thoughts couldn't help but drift to his group of 3-legged fire crows. Over the years, he has been carefully cultivating these fire crows, constantly feeding them fire attribute demon pills, and using precious purple mansion fruits at critical moments. His efforts have not been in vain. Of the original 51 second grade 3-legged fire crows, 34 have successfully been promoted to the Purple Mansion Initial Stage Demon Beasts, adding the original 8 Purple Mansion Stage Fire Crows. Ye Changsheng now has a total of 42 Purple Mansion Initial Stage 3-legged Fire Crows. This is a terrifying air force, but Ye Changsheng is not satisfied with it. He knows that in this world where strength is respected, stagnation means falling behind. Therefore, he decided to continue to increase investment and strive to make these Purple Mansion Initial Stage Fire Crows advance quickly. When leaving the Merit Exchange office, Ye Changsheng was in a particularly good mood. The next morning, the sun shone through the gaps in the curtains onto the desk. Ye Changsheng was concentrating on studying an ancient recipe. Every word on the recipe seemed to contain endless mysteries. His brows were slightly furrowed, and he was obviously in deep thought. Just then, there was a gentle knock on the door, interrupting his thoughts. "Mr. Ye, the servant of Grandmaster Zhang Zichen is here." The voice of the maid came from outside the door. Ye Changsheng was shocked, and quickly put down the recipe in his hand, and walked quickly to the door. "Please, let him in." Ye Changsheng tidied his clothes and tried to make himself look calm. Not long after, a middle-aged man in green came in and bowed to Ye Changsheng. "Mr. Ye, my master invites you." Ye Changsheng nodded. Although he was a little confused, he immediately set off and followed the middle-aged man to the Chuaiden Pavilion. Chuaiden Pavilion is located in a quiet courtyard in the city, surrounded by various spiritual herbs, and the air is filled with a faint medicinal fragrance. Ye Changsheng followed the middle-aged man through the courtyard and came to a spacious living room. The furnishings in the living room are simple but elegant. There are several calligraphy and paintings by famous alchemists hanging on the wall, which looks quite stylish. "Young friend Ye, please sit down." Zhang Zichen sat in the main seat, with a serious face and a sharp gaze. Ye Changsheng was uneasy, not knowing what Zhang Zichen was up to. Zhang Zichen slowly took out 3 exquisite wooden boxes from his sleeves, and placed them on the table. Chapter 286 Level 4 Exchange Meeting. "There are 3 elixirs here. You can choose any one to exchange with me," Zhang Zichen said calmly. Ye Changsheng was overjoyed when he heard this. Being able to exchange elixirs with Zhang Zichen is definitely a great opportunity. He carefully opened the first wooden box, and inside was a 3rd grade top grade 5,000-year-old white jade ginseng. It was as white as jade and exuded a strong medicinal fragrance. In the second wooden box is a 4th grade low grade turtle white fruit, shaped like a turtle shell, with complex lines on the surface and a faint aura flowing around it. The last wooden box contained the cold marrow yin zhi, which was completely black, but had a hint of cold air. It was obviously an extremely precious elixir with cold properties. These 3 elixirs were the treasures that Ye Changsheng dreamed of, and for a while he was caught in a difficult choice. After thinking over and over again, Ye Changsheng finally set his sights on turtle white fruit. "Senior, this junior is bold and wants to exchange these 3 spiritual fruits for the turtle white fruit." Ye Changsheng said respectfully, and at the same time, took out 3 spiritual fruits from his arms: 1000 life fruit, 1000 eyes fruit and purple cloud fruit, all of which are 3rd level top grade. Zhang Zichen carefully looked at the spiritual fruit that Ye Changsheng took out, and a hint of approval flashed in his eyes. He nodded. "Okay, as you say." After the 2 parties completed the exchange, Zhang Zichen added, "On the first day of next month, we will hold a small elixir exchange meeting. If you are interested, you can come and participate." Ye Changsheng was overjoyed when he heard this, and quickly raised his hands to express his thanks. "Thank you for your kindness, senior. I will definitely attend the meeting on time." Zhang Zichen nodded slightly, "But I want to remind you that there are many alchemy masters gathered at this exchange meeting. You need to prepare some rare elixirs to avoid making people laugh. If you don't perform well, I'm afraid you won't have the chance to participate next time." Ye Changsheng nodded solemnly. This junior understands that we must go all out to fulfill our mission. Before leaving, Zhang Zichen gave a few more instructions before letting his entourage send Ye Changsheng out. Walking out of Dan Pavilion on the first day of Chuai, Ye Changsheng was filled with excitement. He was both happy to get the turtle white fruit and excited for the upcoming exchange meeting. Ye Changsheng returned home, carefully took out the turtle white fruit he had just obtained, and looked at it carefully. This 4th grade low grade spirit fruit has a light milky white color all over its body, and its surface is covered with fine lines, just like a turtle shell. He gently stroked the smooth surface of the fruit and felt the powerful vitality contained in it. Based on his previous experience in purchasing spiritual fruit information, Ye Changsheng knew that this kind of turtle white fruit often grows where dragons mate, and is an extremely precious elixir. It can not only effectively increase the bloodline of snake-like monsters, but also improve the physique of cultivators. Ye Changsheng carefully put away the turtle white fruit, thinking that maybe in the future when someone in the family gets a snake demon pet, this fruit will come in handy. After collecting the gibago, Ye Changsheng began to think about the elixir exchange meeting on the first day of next month. Zhang Zichen's reminder still rings in his ears. He knows that if he wants to stand out among the many alchemy masters, he must prepare some extremely rare elixirs and spiritual fruits. Ye Changsheng calculated his current resources in the sacred tree space. He still has 2 drops of 4th level fairy dew and 34 drops of 3rd level fairy dew. After some careful consideration, Ye Changsheng decided to give birth to several extremely precious spiritual plants. His targets were a 4th grade high grade Yunmeng white pear tree, a 10,000-year-old purple blood ginseng, and 1 each of the 9 death resurrection fruit, the Earth Mother's rebirth fruit, and the 3 soul fruit. These are extremely rare spiritual plants in the world of immortality. I believe they will definitely cause a sensation at the exchange meeting. After making up his mind, Ye Changsheng no longer hesitated and took action immediately. He closed his eyes, and with a thought, his consciousness instantly entered the space of the sacred tree. In front of you is a lush spiritual plant garden, and the air is filled with rich spiritual energy. Ye Changsheng came to an open space, took out the core of each Yunmeng white pear, and added a drop of 4th level fairy dew. As the energy of the fairy dew spreads, the ground begins to shake slightly, and a seedling breaks out of the ground and grows rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. In less than a moment, a tall Yunmeng white pear tree appeared in front of Ye Changsheng. The trees are covered with crystal clear pears, emitting a faint fragrance. Ye Changsheng counted carefully and found a total of 12 Yunmeng white pears, each one containing rich spiritual energy. Next, Ye Changsheng took out another drop of 4th level fairy dew and used it to induce the birth of 10,000-year purple blood ginseng. After a while, a fully mature, 4th grade, 10,000-year-old purple blood ginseng was dug out. The purple blood ginseng has a deep purple color all over its body and exudes a strong medicinal fragrance. Then Ye Changsheng used 3 drops of 3rd level fairy dew to induce the 9 death resurrection fruit, the Earth Mother's rebirth fruit, and the 3 soul fruit respectively. Nourished by the fairy dew, these rare spiritual plants grew rapidly and soon reached their perfection. Ye Changsheng carefully picked these elixirs: the 9 death resurrection fruit, the Earth Mother's rebirth fruit, and the 3 soul fruit. Each produced 24, each one crystal clear and containing powerful life energy. Looking at these rare elixirs in front of him, Ye Changsheng was filled with joy and expectation. He believed that with these elixirs, he would be able to shine at the exchange meeting next month and win the recognition of other alchemy masters. Ye Changsheng carefully put away these elixirs and then exited the sacred tree space. In the following days, Ye Changsheng studied the elixir recipe while waiting for the exchange meeting. Time flies, and it's the first day of the lunar month in a blink of an eye. On this day, Ye Changsheng got up early, dressed up carefully, and hurried to Chuaiden Pavilion. When he arrived, it was still early and the pavilion had not yet started to welcome guests. A servant led him to the living room, where Zhang Zichen was leisurely sipping tea. Seeing Ye Changsheng coming, Zhang Zichen smiled kindly. "Young friend Ye, you are here really early." Zhang Zichen smiled. "Come, sit down and have a cup of tea first. The others should be here soon." Ye Changsheng bowed respectfully and then sat down at Zhang Zichen's signal. The servant served a cup of fragrant tea, and Ye Changsheng carefully picked it up, took a sip, and felt refreshed. The two chatted casually, and time passed slowly. In less than 2 hours, other invited people arrived one after another. Ye Changsheng secretly observed and found that every visitor was a cultivator at the Daoting realm, with an unfathomable aura. This made him feel a chill in his heart, realizing that the specifications of this exchange Meeting might be far beyond his imagination point. After everyone arrived, Zhang Zichen stood up and began to introduce everyone with a smile. Everyone, let me introduce today's distinguished guest to everyone. Zhang Zichen looked around and his eyes fell on a middle-aged man in a green robe. This is Li Zuanji, a 4th level top grade alchemist from Qinggyan sect, who has profound attainments in the way of alchemy. Chapter 287 Heavenly Secret Fruit. Li Zuanji's face was pale and his eyes were like lightning. He nodded slightly and signaled to everyone. Zhang Zichen pointed at a burly man. This is fellow Daoist Zhao Li Huo from Flame Valley. He is also a 4th level high grade alchemist. He is especially good at refining fire attribute elixirs. Zhao Li Huo clasped his fists generously and said, fellow Taoists, it's a pleasure to meet you. Then, Zhang Zichen introduced the 3rd level 4 alchemist. This is Mirang Shuang from Han Iceland, fellow Taoist Mirang. She is unique in refining cold attribute elixirs. Mirang Shuang is a woman with extremely beautiful appearance. She is dressed in white and looks like snow, giving people a feeling of ice and purity. She nodded gracefully to everyone. These two are the leaders from the 4th level auction house. Zhang Zichen pointed at 2 monks with extraordinary temperament. They are Su Xianji, the master of Xianji Pavilion, and Mo Zuanbao, the master of Zuanbao Pavilion. Su Xianji is a man who looks to be about 40 years old. His eyes are deep, as if he can see everything. Mo Zuanbao is a handsome young man, showing nobility in every gesture. This is the eldest son of the Shen family of the Elixir family, Shen Qinggyan. Zhang Zichen introduced. The Shen family has been inherited for tens of thousands of years and has unparalleled accomplishments in the cultivation and cultivation of elixirs. Shen Qinggyan looks to be in his 20s, handsome, with the light of wisdom shining in his eyes. He smiled and nodded to everyone. Finally, Zhang Zichen pointed to the 2 young monks. These 2 are genius disciples from the 5th level sect. This is Lin Xianyu from Taixu sect, and that is Jiang Zuan from Zuanyuan sect. They are both from their respective sects. One of the top 10 disciples, Lin Xianyu, was dressed in white and had an extraordinary aura, giving people an aloof feeling. Jiang Zuan was wearing a black robe and his eyes were sharp, as if he could penetrate people's hearts. After introducing the others, Zhang Zichen's eyes finally fell on Ye Changsheng. Everyone, this is Ye Changsheng and Ye Xiaoyao. Although he is only in the early stage of Zifu's cultivation, he possesses many rare elixirs. What's more worth mentioning is that Ye Xiaoyao also opened a pill shop with a prosperous business and considerable income. Zhang Zichen glanced at Ye Changsheng meaningfully and continued, to be able to achieve such an achievement at such an age, Ye Xiaoyao must not only have extraordinary opportunities, but also have strong support behind him. Don't underestimate him. After hearing this introduction, everyone present could not help but look at Ye Changsheng again. Originally they didn't care about this young man, but now they have to pay attention to him. Facing the inquiring eyes of everyone, Ye Changsheng stood up quickly and said humbly, Senior Zhang is overrated. I just have better luck and got some opportunities. Compared with the seniors here, I still have a long way to go. Walk. Ye Changsheng's humble words made everyone nod, and their impression of this young man became a little better after Ye Changsheng sat down. Zhang Zichen's expression became serious. He looked around and said solemnly, now that everyone has arrived, I declare that this elixir exchange meeting has officially begun. As Zhang Zichen finished speaking, the atmosphere in the whole room suddenly became solemn. Everyone held their breath and prepared to show off the rare elixirs they brought, hoping to gain something from this exchange meeting. Ye Changsheng took a deep breath and secretly clenched his fists. He knew that the next exchange would be a fierce game, and everyone would bring out their own special skills. But he was not afraid, but felt excited. Because he believed that with the rare elixirs he prepared, he would be able to shine at this exchange meeting. Zhang Zichen looked around the crowd with a mysterious smile on his face. He slowly said, in that case, let me help you. As he spoke, he took out an exquisite wooden box from his arms. The box is dark brown in color and is engraved with complicated patterns. It is not ordinary at first glance. Everyone's eyes were attracted to this wooden box, and they all speculated on what treasure it might be inside. Zhang Zichen gently opened the lid of the box, and a colorful light suddenly overflowed from the box, illuminating the entire room. Everyone couldn't help but hold their breath when they saw a colorful spiritual fruit lying quietly in the box, exuding rich spiritual energy. This is a 4th level high grade spiritual fruit called Xiangji fruit. Zhang Zichen introduced. Monks in the Taoist realm can predict the future for a short period of time after taking this fruit. Even among the 4th level high grade elixirs, the Xiangji fruit is extremely precious. As soon as these words came out, the whole room suddenly boiled. Everyone exclaimed and talked a lot. As expected of Senior Zhang, once you take action, you will be shocked by this treasure, Xiangji fruit. It's actually the legendary Xiangji fruit. I've read about it in ancient books, but I didn't expect to see it with my own eyes today. The ability to predict the future is incredible. No wonder it is so precious. Zhang Zichen waited for everyone to finish talking before continuing. I have no special requirements. As long as you can come up with something that interests me, I'm willing to exchange. As soon as the words fell, 2 monks immediately stood up, eager to exchange the Xiangji fruit. Li Zuanji from King Guan Sect stood up first. He took out a jade box and opened it carefully, revealing a crystal clear spiritual grass inside. This is a chalcedony grass bred in the secret realm of my King Guan Sect, a 4th level top grade elixir. After taking it, it can enhance the strength of the monk's spiritual consciousness, which is of great help in breaking through the realm. Li Zuanji introduced, his eyes flashing with anticipation. Zhang Zichen looked at it carefully and shook his head gently. Li Daoyao's chalcedony grass is indeed rare, but compared with the Xiangji fruit, it is probably still a little worse. Li Zuanji heard this, a trace of disappointment flashed across his face, but he soon regained his composure. He returned to his position and put away the chalcedony grass. Then, Zhao Lihuo from the Flame Valley stood up. He took out a fiery red gourd, opened it, and a hot breath came to his face. This is a treasure of my Flame Valley, the 9 Yang Fire Essence Ganoderma, which is also a 4th level top grade, but the fire attribute energy contained in it is extremely pure. Adding a small piece when refining the pill can greatly improve the quality of the pill. Zhao Lihuo introduced confidently. Zhang Zichen thought seriously for a while, but still shook his head. Zhao Daoyao's 9 Yang Fire Essence Ganoderma is indeed extraordinary, but compared with the Xiangji fruit, it is probably still a little bit behind. Zhao Lihuo was a little unwilling, but he could only retreat helplessly. Just when everyone thought that no one could exchange for the Xiangji fruit, Mireng Shuang stood up. She took out a nice blue jade box from her sleeve and gently opened it. A crystal clear fruit lay quietly inside, emitting a faint dragon power. This is a 4th grade top grade dragon fruit. Chapter 288, Fairy Apricot of the Blue Sky. Mireng Shuang said softly, I know that Senior Zhang has been looking for a treasure that can improve the purity of his pet's blood. Although the value of this dragon fruit may not be as high as the Xiangji fruit, it is exactly what Senior Zhang needs. Zhang Zichen heard this, and a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. He looked at the dragon fruit carefully, and a thoughtful look appeared on his face. Seeing this, Mireng Shuang continued, I know that Senior Zhang's pet is a green dragon, but its blood is not pure. This dragon fruit can help it purify its blood and enhance its strength. For Senior Zhang, this may be more valuable than the Xiangji fruit. After listening, Zhang Zichen couldn't help but smile bitterly. He looked around and found that no one else wanted to come forward to exchange. After thinking for a while, Zhang Zichen finally nodded. Fellow Daoist Mireng is indeed a sharp eye, and he saw my needs at a glance. In this case, I will exchange with you. As he said, he handed the wooden box containing the Xiangji fruit to Mireng Shuang and took the dragon fruit at the same time. Mireng Shuang took the Xiangji fruit and smiled happily. Thank you, Senior Zhang, for your help. After the exchange was completed, Zhang Zichen turned to the others and said with a smile, did you see it? Exchange is not just about the value of the treasure, but more importantly, it is about finding what the other party really needs. This is the true meaning of exchange. After Hearing this, everyone nodded in agreement and admired Zhang Zichen's wisdom and broad-mindedness even more. Ye Changsheng silently observed all this on the side, thinking to himself, it seems that this exchange will be more complicated than imagined. Not only do you have to take out precious treasures, but you also have to know how to read the other party's words and find out what the other party needs next. Shen Qingyan from the spiritual medicine family stood up, and his actions immediately attracted everyone's attention. Shen Qingyan smiled and took out 2 exquisite jade boxes from the storage bag. My fellow Taoists, I brought 2 treasures today, and I hope to appreciate them with you, Shen Qingyan said, slowly opening the first jade box. A fresh and fragrant fruity fragrance immediately spread out, and 4 crystal clear fairy fruits were quietly lying in the jade box, each of which exuded a faint green light. This is the billow fairy apricot, a spiritual fruit that my Shen family has carefully cultivated for 3,000 years, Shen Qingyan introduced. This fruit contains a rich essence of heaven and earth, which is of great benefit to the middle-level cultivators of the Dao court. After taking it, it can help them break through to the late stage of the Dao court, and the effect is extraordinary. As soon as these words came out, everyone present was moved. It often takes decades or even hundreds of years of hard practice to break through from the middle level of the Dao court to the late stage point. If this fruit helps, it will undoubtedly save a lot of time and energy. However, the more surprising thing is yet to come. Shen Qingyan opened the second jade box again, and suddenly, a more concentrated spiritual energy came to his face. I saw a purple and red spiritual peach lying in the jade box, surrounded by a faint purple glow. This is Zixuling Tao, a rare treasure that my Shen family has cultivated for 5,000 years with all their efforts. Shen Qingyan's tone was full of pride. This peach can not only help the cultivators who have reached the great perfection of Daoting break through the bottleneck, but also has a 20% chance of helping them enter the 5th level Jade Tree realm in one fell swoop. As soon as these words came out, the whole audience was in an uproar. Even Zhang Zichen, who has always been calm, couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. Breaking through from Daoting to Jade Tree is a natural chasm that many cultivators can hardly cross in their lifetime. If there is really a 20% chance of breaking through, the value of this Zixuling Tao is simply inestimable. Seeing the shocked expressions of the crowd, Shen Qingyan smiled slightly. If you are interested, you might as well take out your treasures to exchange. As soon as the voice fell, 4 cultivators stood up immediately. They were Su Xianji, the master of Xianji Pavilion, Mo Zuanbao, the master of Zuanbao Tower, Lin Xianyu of Taixu Sect, and Jiang Zuan of Zuanyuan Sect. Mo Zuanbao spoke first. Fellow Daoist Shen, I have a 4th grade top grade Jiuxiao Yunzi here. I wonder if I can exchange it for a billow Xiangxing. Shen Qingyan carefully looked at Jiuxiao Yunzi and nodded. This elixir is indeed extraordinary. It can help cultivators condense their primordial spirits, and is very helpful for breaking through the Yashu realm. Okay, I agree to the exchange. Then, Jiang Zuan took out a flame heart flower and Su Xianji showed a 10,000 years cold marrow fruit. These 2 treasures are also 4th grade top grade, each with its own characteristics. Shen Qingyan thought for a while, and agreed to the exchange. When it was Lin Xianyu's turn, he took out a starfruit. This starfruit is silver white, with stars all over the surface, emitting a faint starlight. This fruit is made by absorbing the essence of the stars. After taking it, it can enhance the strength of the cultivator's spiritual consciousness. Lin Xianyu explained. Shen Qingyan's eyes lit up. What a treasure. This fruit is exactly what my Shen family urgently needs. Fellow Daoist Lin, I'm willing to exchange my last billow Xiangxing with you. Lin Xianyu was overjoyed when he heard this, and quickly completed the exchange. Everyone could see that Lin Xianyu was already in the middle level of Daoting. With this billow Xiangxing, it would not take long for him to break through to the late stage of Daoting. Just when everyone thought the exchange was over, Ye Changsheng, who had been observing silently, suddenly stood up. Fellow Daoist Shen, I wonder if this Zixuling Tao can be exchanged. Ye Changsheng asked. As soon as this was said, everyone's eyes focused on this young man. The value of the purple cloud peach is far higher than that of the blue sky fairy apricot. Even those doting realm masters dare not speak easily. What confidence does this young man who seems to have a shallow cultivation have? Shen Qingyan was also stunned, and then smiled and said, if you have a suitable treasure, we can discuss it. Ye Changsheng did not say much, and directly took out a jade box from the storage bag, and opened it gently. Suddenly, a strange fragrance spread, and 3 white jade pears were quietly lying in the box. This is Yunmeng white pear. I wonder if you have heard of it, Mr. Shen. Ye Changsheng asked lightly. Point upon hearing this, Shen Qingyan's pupils shrank suddenly, and his voice trembled a little. Yunmeng white pear? Isn't this the legendary spiritual fruit from other continents? How could it appear here? Ye Changsheng smiled slightly. Indeed. This Yunmeng white pear is something I got by chance. It is said that it can improve the cultivation of Taoist monks for 100 years. I wonder if Dao Yao Shen is willing to exchange it with Zixia spiritual peach. Shen Qingyan's breathing became obviously rapid. As the heir of a spiritual medicine family, he knew the value of this Yunmeng white pear too well. Not only can it be taken directly to enhance strength, but more importantly, it can be cultivated as seeds. If it can be successfully planted, it will be an immeasurable wealth for the Shen family. After thinking for a moment, Shen Qingyan nodded solemnly. Okay, I agree to the exchange. As he said, he carefully handed the Zixia spiritual peach to Ye Changsheng, and at the same time, took the jade box containing the Yunmeng white pear. Chapter 289 Purple Peach. This scene shocked everyone present. No one expected that this young-looking Ye Changsheng could actually take out such precious treasures, and he took out 3 at once. Young friend Ye has such an opportunity at such a young age, which is really enviable. Zhang Zichen exclaimed. Others also echoed, and cast admiring eyes on Ye Changsheng. Ye Changsheng seemed very calm. He knew that it was a complete accident that he could get the Yunmeng white pear, but more importantly, he knew that Shen Qingyan would definitely agree to this exchange. Because for the spiritual medicine family, the value of the Yunmeng white pear far exceeds the Zixia spiritual peach. Not only can it allow the Dao court masters in the family to improve their strength, but they can also try to plant and cultivate. If successful, it will bring endless benefits to the Shen family. Looking at the Zixia spiritual peach in his hand, Ye Changsheng was secretly happy. Although he cannot use this spiritual peach now, it is undoubtedly an important trump card for him to reach a higher realm. The third person next is Ye Changsheng. Ye Changsheng stood up, smiled slightly, and looked around at all the cultivators present. He knew that it was time for him to show off. Although he was still young, the spiritual fruits and spiritual medicines he brought this time were enough to move everyone present. He took out 2 jade boxes from his storage ring and gently placed them on the table in front of him. Everyone's eyes were immediately attracted, looking forward to what kind of treasures he would take out. Ye Changsheng smiled slightly and slowly opened the first jade box. Burst of fresh fruit fragrance came to the face, and 3 crystal clear Yunmeng white pears lay quietly in the jade box. Ye Changsheng took out 3 more Yunmeng white pears. Everyone was amazed. Obviously they didn't expect Ye Changsheng to be able to take out so many precious spiritual fruits. 3 before, and now 3 again. Ye Changsheng smiled a little embarrassedly and said, I'm still young, and don't have many spiritual fruits. I can only take out these Yunmeng white pears to exchange with fellow Taoists. Although his words were a bit humble, the cultivators present were delighted. The rarity of Yunmeng white pears is self-evident. It is undoubtedly a rare opportunity for them to have the opportunity to exchange for this kind of spiritual fruit. Then, Ye Changsheng opened the second jade box. Suddenly, a strong spiritual energy spread, and everyone couldn't help holding their breath. I saw a purple spiritual ginseng lying in the jade box, with a faint purple halo around it. This is a 10,000-year-old purple blood ginseng. Ye Changsheng introduced with a hint of pride in his tone. This ginseng is one of the main medicines for refining Daoting Dan, and there are very few on the market. I hope to exchange with fellow Taoists for the spiritual medicine or spiritual fruit you like. As soon as the voice fell, the 3 alchemists immediately became nervous. They knew very well how precious the 10,000-year-old purple blood ginseng was. This spiritual medicine was a treasure that no alchemist could refuse. Shen Qingyan stood up first. He took out a Zuanayu ginkgo from his storage bag and said with a smile, Fellow Daoist Ye, this Zuanayu Ginkgo is a treasure of my Shen family. It is 3 times more effective than the below Ye Changsheng, and can help cultivators break through from the middle stage of daoting to the late stage. I wonder if you can exchange it with me for a Yunmeng white pear. Ye Changsheng thought for a moment, and nodded in agreement. The value of Zuanayu Ginkgo is self-evident, and it is also a good exchange for him. Next, Sushan, the pavilion master from Xianji Pavilion, stood up. He took out a demon emperor grass from his sleeve, handed it to Ye Changsheng, and said with a smile, "Fellow Daoist Ye, this demon emperor grass has been incubated for 8,000 years. It is a 4th level top grade spiritual herb. It is the best spiritual medicine to assist demon beasts to advance from the 3rd level to the 4th level with a success rate of up to 80%. I wonder if you can exchange it with me for a Yunmeng white pear." Ye Changsheng was delighted when he saw the demon emperor grass. This spiritual herb is very beneficial to his 3-legged fire crow's cultivation, so he agreed to the exchange without hesitation. Then, Mo Zuanbao, the owner of Zuanbao Tower, also stood up. He took out a Xianbao fire date and said solemnly, "Fellow Daoist Ye, this Xianbao fire date is a 4th level top grade spiritual fruit, which can greatly improve the cultivation of fire attributed cultivators or monsters. I wonder if you can exchange it with me for a Yunmeng white pear." Ye Changsheng was also quite satisfied with the Xianbao fire date. When his 3-legged fire crow reached the 4th level, he would not lack precious medicine. He readily agreed to the exchange. So far, the 3 Yunmeng white pears he brought have all been exchanged. Seeing this, everyone couldn't help but sigh. Especially the host Zhang Zichen. He also felt a little regretful. However, he quickly adjusted his mindset, took out a 9 heavens wind bell fruit from his storage bag, handed it to Ye Changsheng, and said with a smile, "Fellow Daoist Ye, this 9 heavens wind bell fruit is a 4th grade high quality spiritual fruit. After a cultivator takes it, it can greatly increase the progress of practicing wind-related magical powers. I wonder if you can exchange it with me for the 10,000-year-old purple blood ginseng." Ye Changsheng thought about it for a moment and nodded in agreement. The 9 heavens wind bell fruit is also valuable and will be of great help to his future practice. In this way, Ye Changsheng completed the exchange perfectly. As Ye Changsheng completed his exchange, the other 7 cultivators also stood up and prepared to show the rare spiritual medicines they brought. The first one was Sushianji, the pavilion master of Xianji Pavilion. He took out an exquisite jade box from his sleeve and slowly opened it. A clear fragrance immediately spread. In the jade box, there lay a crystal clear spiritual herb, emitting a faint blue light. This is a 4th grade, top grade spiritual herb U0027 Xianji Jade Dewgrass U0027. So, Xianji introduced, this herb can enhance the strength of the cultivator's spiritual consciousness and is especially beneficial for cultivators who practice the way of deduction. I wonder if anyone among you is willing to exchange. Then, Mo Zuanbao, the owner of Zuanbao Tower, also took out his treasure. It was a fruit emitting golden light, which looked like a small sundae. This is U0027 Sun Golden Pill Fruit U0027. Mo Zuanbao explained, after taking it, it can greatly enhance the power of the cultivator's gold-based skills. For fellow Taoists who practice gold-based skills, it is definitely a rare treasure. Lin Xianayu of Taixusek took out a snow-white Ganoderma lucidum. This Ganoderma lucidum has a peculiar shape, like a blooming lotus. This is U0027 9 grade white lotus Ganoderma U0027. Lin Xianayu said, it can help cultivators condense their primordial spirits, which is very helpful for breaking through bottlenecks. Jiang Zuan of Zuaniuan sect showed a purple-black fruit. The surface of this fruit is covered with fine lines, which looks quite mysterious. This is U0027 Zuaniuan soul fruit U0027. Jiang Zuan introduced, it can enhance the strength of the cultivator's soul and has a miraculous effect on resisting the inner demon and stabilizing the heart of Tao. Li Zuanji from Qinggan sect took out a spiritual grass that was all green. The leaves of this spiritual grass can vaguely see the flow of cloud patterns, which is quite strange. This is U0027 King Iron Immortal Grass U0027, Li Zuanji explained. After taking it, it can increase the cultivator's flying speed. For Taoist friends who like to travel around, it is definitely a rare treasure. Chapter 290 The 10 Friends Association. Zhao Li Huo from the Valley of Fire displayed a fruit as red as fire. This fruit exudes amazing heat, like a burning flame. This is U0027 Blazing Heart Fruit U0027, Zhao Li Huo introduced. It can greatly enhance the power of the monk's fire-based skills. It is definitely a coveted treasure for Taoists who practice fire-based skills. Finally, Mirang Shuang from Han Iceland took out a spiritual grass that was as crystal clear as ice. This spiritual grass exudes a faint chill, making people shiver. This is U0027 Ice Immortal Grass U0027, Mirang Shuang explained. After taking it, it can enhance the power of the monk's ice-based skills. It is definitely a rare treasure for Taoists who practice ice-based skills. Faced with these precious elixirs, Ye Changsheng was naturally extremely jealous, but he knew very well that he should not be greedy, and although these elixirs were precious, they were not necessary for his current practice. So, he showed a regretful expression and said to everyone, the elixirs of all fellow Taoists are indeed rare treasures, but it is a pity that I have no other rare spiritual fruits in my hands to exchange. It is really a pity. When everyone saw this, although they were a little disappointed, they couldn't force it. After all, Ye Changsheng has already taken out treasures such as Yunmeng White Pear and 10,000 years Purple Blood Ginseng, and there cannot be more point in this way. A few hours passed, and the exchange meeting ended successfully. Zhang Zichen stood up and made a summary. Fellow Taoists, today's exchange meeting has been very fruitful. I believe that everyone's trip is worthwhile. In this case, why not make this exchange meeting a regular event and hold it every 6 months? How about once? After hearing this, everyone nodded in agreement. Zhang Zichen continued. We have a total of 10 Taoist friends participating today. Why not name this exchange meeting 10 Friends Meeting? What do you think? Good, everyone agreed in unison. Next, everyone communicated with each other for a while, sharing their own cultivation experiences and insights. It wasn't until the sun set that everyone reluctantly said goodbye and left. However, Ye Changsheng stayed. He directly handed Zhang Zichen a jade box and said, Senior Zhang, this is my kindness. Please accept it. Zhang Zichen opened the jade box and found a Yunmeng White Pear inside. He was immediately overjoyed and said excitedly, Fellow Daoist Ye, I accept your kindness. From now on, I, Zhang Zichen, will be your friend. However, I can't take your things in vain. There are 3 high-grade Daoting pills here. It will definitely come in handy. Ye Changsheng waved his hand quickly and politely declined. Fellow Daoist Zhang, you were willing to exchange the 9 Heavens Campanular fruit for my 10,000 years Purple Blood Ginseng. You must be in urgent need of the Daoting pill. How can I win someone's love? Zhang Zichen smiled and explained. Fellow Daoist Ye, you misunderstood. In fact, I owed a favor to an old friend before. He recently wanted to buy Daoting pills and needed 8. I originally only had 3 in my hand, but now I will exchange them from you. When I reach the 10,000 years Purple Blood Ginseng, I can refine 9 of them, and this problem will be solved. So you must accept these 3 high-grade Daoting pills, otherwise I will be too embarrassed to accept your Yunmeng White Pear. Seeing Zhang Zichen's insistence, Ye Changsheng had no choice but to accept 3 high-grade Daoting pills. The two chatted for a while and exchanged some cultivation experiences with each other, and finally Ye Changsheng said goodbye and left. Looking back on this exchange meeting, Ye Changsheng was filled with joy. Not only did I successfully exchange several precious elixirs, but I also met several Taoist friends who were quite capable, which can be said to be a fruitful harvest. Ye Changsheng secretly thought to himself that the performance of this exchange meeting was perfect. Not only did it not arouse jealousy or hostility from others, it actually won everyone's favor and respect. With this thought in mind, Ye Changsheng embarked on his return journey, already looking forward to the next 10 friends meeting in his heart. After Ye Changsheng returned, he summoned Shense and asked him to go back and inform the people of the Golden Light Society to search for the seeds of the 4th level elixir or spiritual fruit point. After finding it, he bought it at a double premium and gave some benefits to Shense. Shense left happily. During this period of time, Ye Changsheng has paid several ladies to break up with their respective sects. Now besides Shen Yufeng and King Lion Hong, there is still Su Yurao who has not broken away from the sect. Ye Changsheng thought for a moment, and instead of being so passively approached by others, he might as well take the initiative to come to the door. Ye Changsheng took Su Yurao to visit her grandmaster Shu Yuliusu. That day. Yuliusu is a late-stage cultivator from the Zifu, and one of the leaders of the Zuanine sect serving in the Golden Light Fortress. Su Yurao will be directly managed by her. When Ye Changsheng and Su Yurao walked into Yuliusu's cave, they were greeted by a burst of elegant floral fragrance. The interior of the cave is extremely exquisitely decorated, with several ink paintings hanging on the walls, soft embroidered carpets on the floor, and pots of spiritual plants emitting a faint light in the corners. Yuliusu was sitting on a carved wooden chair. When he saw the two people arriving, he smiled slightly and stood up to greet them. Yuliusu is a monk from the late Zifu period. He is tall and has a beautiful face. There is a charm between his eyebrows that cannot be ignored. Her voice is as sweet as a clear spring, and there is an elegance in her movements. She was wearing a lavender dress with delicate silver patterns embroidered on the hem, which swayed gently with her steps, like a blooming violet. Fellow Daoist Yi, nephew Su, welcome your visit, you. Liu Su said with a smile, with a hint of kindness in his voice. Senior, you, excuse me, Ye Changsheng bowed his hands, and Su Yurao also bowed slightly. Yuliusu asked the two to sit down, and made tea for them personally. Her movements were skillful and elegant, and the fragrance of tea soon filled the air. Ye Changsheng and Su Yurao took the teacup and took a sip. The tea tasted sweet and refreshing. Fellow Daoist Yi, I wonder what you are here for today, you. Liu Su asked with a smile, her eyes moving between the two. Ye Changsheng put down the teacup, smiled slightly, and said, Senior Yu, I came here today mainly for Su Yurao's matter. She hopes to leave the Zuanian sect and practice with me. You. Liu Su heard this, nodded slightly, turned her eyes to Su Yurao, and a trace of relief appeared in her eyes. Junior brother Su, congratulations on finding your own path. Su Yurao showed a shy smile on her face and said softly, thank you, Grandmaster. Ye Changsheng then asked, I wonder how many spiritual stones your sect needs to dissolve Su Yurao's relationship with the sect and return her soul lamp. You. Liu Su smiled slightly and explained, fellow Daoist Yi, in fact, our Zuanine sect has long been optimistic about your future and decided to waive the relevant fees. I have asked someone to bring Su Yurao's soul lamp, and you can dissolve your relationship with the sect now. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 291. Yuliusu. After speaking, she took out an exquisite wooden box from her sleeve and handed it to Su Yurao. Su Yurao took the wooden box and opened it to see that it was her soul lamp, and she couldn't help but feel excited. Ye Changsheng was also very surprised and said quickly, thank you, Senior Yu. The Zuanine sect is so generous. I, Ye Changsheng, can't thank you enough. You. Liu Su nodded slightly and said with a smile, fellow Daoist Yi, you don't have to be polite. Master Nephew Su has been in our sect for many years, so we are destined to be together. Ye Changsheng pondered for a moment and said solemnly, although your sect has waived the fee, I, Ye Changsheng, cannot accept this kindness in vain. At least, I still have to express the cost of Su Yurao's training in your sect. Seeing how insistent he was, Yuliusu smiled and said, since fellow Daoist Yi said so, let's just wait and see. Ye Changsheng thought for a while, took out a jade bottle from the storage bag, handed it to Yuliusu, and said, here are 20 middle grade Zifu pills. I heard that your sect is in need of these pills, so I will use them to offset Su Yurao's training expenses. You. Liu Su and Su Yurao were both stunned, obviously not expecting Ye Changsheng to be so generous. Liu Su said quickly, "Fellow Daoist Ye, this is too much. We definitely can't use so much, but..." Ye Changsheng waved his hands and said firmly, "People respect me 1 foot, and I respect others 1 foot. The Zuanine sect has done a good job, and I, Ye Changsheng, must show my respect no matter what. I have given these pills." Seeing how insistent he was, Liu Su had no choice but to accept it, with a satisfied smile on his face. My Zuanine sect will bear in mind the generosity of fellow Daoist Ye Changsheng and Su Yurao left Liu Su's cave with satisfaction. After walking out of the cave, Su Yurao said softly, "Brother Ye, thank you." Ye Changsheng smiled slightly, held her hand, and said gently, "Yurao, you are my wife. These are what I should do." Time flies, and half a month passes in the blink of an eye. On this day, Ye Changsheng was playing with Ye Changsheng and Ye Chenglui at Hua Jiao's place point. Just as Ye Changsheng was playing with Ye Changsheng and Ye Chenglui in Hua Jiao's yard, a rush of footsteps came. I saw a beautiful middle-aged female nun walking quickly into the courtyard. Looking around with burning eyes, seeing this, Hua Jiao quickly stood up and greeted her, saluting respectfully, "Auntie, why are you here?" Only then did Ye Changsheng realize that this uninvited guest was actually Hua Jiao's aunt. I saw the middle-aged female cultivator with a serious face and a frown on her face. She was obviously here to ask questions. "Jiao, do you know what you did?" Hua Changsheng asked in a stern tone. "It's such a big deal to find a Taoist companion. How can you not ask your family's opinion first? Do you know what kind of person you are looking for?" Hua Jiao lowered her head and said nothing. When Ye Changsheng saw this, he sighed secretly in his heart, knowing that this storm could not be avoided. Hua Changsheng continued to scold, "Do you know how many women he has? How can you trust such a playboy for the rest of his life?" Hua Jiao remained silent, her eyes slightly red. When Ye Changsheng saw this, he couldn't help but feel distressed. He took a deep breath and stood up. "Senior Hua, this matter is indeed my fault." Ye Changsheng said sincerely, "I did something wrong by having sex and giving birth to a child before the matchmaker married Jiao. I will definitely go to Hua's house to apologize solemnly in the future." Hua Changsheng snorted coldly, obviously not buying into these words. Ye Changsheng continued, "I know that I have many women, but I have the ability to take care of each of them. I will give Jiao enough time and care, and I will do my best to raise the 2 children. Although my cultivation level is not high, I have achieved some achievements. I will definitely work hard to cultivate in the future and create a better life for Jiao and my children." Ye Changsheng said sincerely, "Senior Hua, please give me a chance to prove myself." When Hua Changsheng heard this, her expression softened a little. Seeing this, Ye Changsheng quickly winked at Hua Jiao. Hua Ji understood the words and quickly went to prepare tea. At the same time, she also brought the 2 children over and showed Hua Changsheng. Hua Changsheng looked at the 2 cute children, and the expression on her face gradually softened. She gently touched the children's little faces. A trace of love flashed in her eyes after a while. Hua Changsheng turned to Hua Jiao and asked, "Jiao, have you decided what to do now?" Without waiting for Hua Jiao to answer, Ye Changsheng rushed to say, "Senior Hua, I have prepared a betrothal gift to supplement the Hua family. When the time comes, I will definitely marry Jiao formally according to the rules." Hua Changsheng shook her head and said, "Ye Changsheng, I didn't come here today to ask for a betrothal gift from you." Ye Changsheng hurriedly explained, Of course. This supplemental betrothal gift is necessary and shows my respect for the Hua family. I also ask my aunt to help pass it on to my father-in-law and mother-in-law." Hua Changsheng sighed and said helplessly, "That's it. The matter has come to this, and this is the only way it can be." Upon seeing this, Ye Changsheng immediately took out several jade boxes. He carefully opened the first jade box, and there were 6 crystal clear fruits inside. "This is the 3 soul fruit, which can greatly enhance the strength of the soul," Ye Changsheng introduced. Then he opened the second jade box, revealing 6 fruits that exuded a faint light. "This is the 9 death resurrection fruit, which has the effect of bringing the dead back to life." Ye Changsheng explained. The third jade box contained 6 earth yellow fruits. Ye Changsheng introduced. This is the rebirth fruit of the Earth Mother, which can regenerate a broken limb. In the last jade box were 6 purple fruits. Ye Changsheng said, this is the purple cloud fruit, which can greatly increase the cultivation level of Z Mansion in the later period. These 4 fruits are all 3rd level top grade fruits, and are extremely precious. Ye Changsheng added, I hope I can express my sincerity. Hua Changsheng looked at these precious spiritual fruits, and was caught off guard for a moment. She hesitated, as if she didn't want to accept such an expensive gift. But Ye Changsheng insisted, Senior Hua, please accept it. This is my intention and respect for the Hua family. Hua Changsheng was silent for a moment, and finally nodded, okay, I'll accept it for my brother. Ye Changsheng breathed a sigh of relief, with a relieved smile on his face. Hua Ji, who also quietly held Ye Changsheng's hand, her eyes filled with gratitude. Hua Changsheng looked at the beautiful couple in front of her, and the anger in her heart also dissipated a lot. She sighed softly and said, Ji, since you have made your choice, I won't say anything more. I just hope that you can live a good life in the future, and don't let each other down. Hua Ji, who quickly nodded in agreement, with tears of happiness shining in her eyes. Ye Changsheng also solemnly assured Hua Changsheng that he would treat Hua Ji and the children well. The next morning, the sun was shining brightly, and the breeze was gentle. Chapter 292, Level 3 Black Panther. Ye Changsheng, Hua Ji and Hua Changsheng arrived at the large cave, where the exchange meeting was held. Outside the cave is a lush garden, with all kinds of exotic flowers and plants blooming, and the fragrance is fragrant. Stepping into the garden, Ye Changsheng looked around, and found that as many as 300 to 400 people had gathered. The monks gathered together in 2s and 3s, chatting in low voices, with expectation shining in their eyes. An exchange meeting of this scale is considered quite good in the Golden Light Fortress. Soon, the first treasure holder appeared on stage. He is a young man with a handsome face, holding an exquisite jade box in his hand. The young man coughed, attracting everyone's attention, and then slowly opened the jade box. Fellow Taoists, what I have brought this time is a 3000-year-old Gynoderma lucidum, which can be used to refine elixirs that enhance the cultivation of the Purple Mansion stage. I hope to exchange it for a 3rd level high-grade defensive magic weapon. The young man's voice was clear, and could be heard throughout the audience. There was a burst of whispers in the audience, and several monks were eager to try, but in the end no one came forward to exchange. The young man left the stage a little disappointed. Then more than a dozen treasure holders came on stage one after another, showing off their treasures, and making exchange requests. Some succeeded, and some failed. Hua Changsheng never made a move, and Ye Changsheng and Hua Ji didn't see any treasures they wanted. The 3 of them just watched quietly. After about 2 sticks of incense, an old man with a grey beard slowly appeared on the stage. In his hand he held a green alchemy furnace with complex runes engraved on it, which made it look like it was not ordinary at first sight. The old man stroked his beard and said loudly, what I brought this time is a 3rd level mid-grade sapphire alchemy furnace. The fire is perfect and the temperature is uniform, which is most suitable for refining 3rd level elixirs. I want to exchange for any elixirs or elixirs that can help advance to the Taoist realm. As soon as this statement came out, the audience suddenly became excited. Many monks coveted this alchemy furnace, but the treasure that could help advance to the Taoist court was so precious that no one dared to exchange it for a while. Ye Changsheng noticed that Hua Changsheng's eyes suddenly lit up, and she was obviously very interested in this alchemy furnace. Only then did he suddenly realize that Hua Changsheng was actually the alchemist of the Hua family. Hua Changsheng stepped forward quickly, took out a few treasures from the storage bag, and handed them to the old man respectfully. However, the old man just shook his head. Obviously these things were not enough to exchange for the alchemy furnace. Hua Changsheng came back with a depressed look on her face and sighed, what a pity, such a good alchemy furnace. When Ye Changsheng saw this, his heart moved. He said, Auntie, don't worry, let me try. After saying that, Ye Changsheng strode forward. He took out a jade box from the storage bag and opened it gently. I saw a crystal clear fruit lying quietly inside, emitting a faint moonlight. This is a divine moon fruit. Although there is only a 10% chance of helping the Zifu monks advance to the Taoist court, its value has obviously exceeded that of this 3rd level mid-grade alchemy furnace. Ye Changsheng said calmly. The old man was overjoyed when he heard this and nodded quickly to agree to the exchange. Ye Changsheng handed the Shenyu fruit to the old man. After taking the alchemy furnace, he turned around and handed it to Hua Qingcheng. Auntie, this is a gift for you. Ye Changsheng said with a smile. Hua Qingcheng was shocked and waved her hands repeatedly. This is too valuable. I can't accept it. Hua Jiayu advised from the side. Auntie, just accept it. Ye Changsheng is a rich man. You don't have to save it for him. As he spoke, he kept winking at Hua Qingcheng, hinting her to accept it quickly. Under Hua Jiayu's hard work, Hua Qingcheng finally accepted this generous gift with a happy smile on her face. After about a stick of incense, a female cultivator wearing the costume of the beast control sect appeared on the stage. She was holding a huge black panther. She saw that the black panther was as black as ink, its hair was shiny and smooth, and its eyes shone like 2 gems with the light of wisdom. The female cultivator cleared her throat and said, fellow Taoists, what I brought this time is a 3rd level high quality black panther. It is not an ordinary monster, but a mutant with the bloodline of the mythical beast Killin. It has the ability to flash through the air and can move a certain distance in an instant, which is something ordinary 3rd level monsters don't have. I hope to exchange it for elixirs that can help advance to the Taoist court. As soon as these words came out, the female nuns present suddenly became excited. This black panther is not only powerful, but also beautiful in appearance, making it a perfect mountain battle pet. Hua Jiayu was also attracted by the black panther, her eyes shining with desire. She came forward several times to try to exchange, but was declined each time by the female nun. Hua Jiayu returned to her seat dejectedly. Ye Changsheng laughed and said, it depends on your husband. Ye Changsheng took the stage again, first taking out a divine moon fruit. The female cultivator shook her head, indicating that the value was not enough. Ye Changsheng pondered for a moment, and then took out a jade bottle from the storage bag, which contained a middle grade Daotingdan. The female nun was overjoyed when she saw this, and immediately agreed to the exchange. She handed the jade talisman to control the black panther to Ye Changsheng, and Ye Changsheng used the monster bag to collect the black panther. After returning to his seat, Ye Changsheng handed the jade talisman and the monster bag to Hua Jiayu. Hua Jiayu was so surprised that she couldn't put it down and stroked the jade charm. Hua Qingcheng was shocked and asked, she has such high demands. What price did you pay to make her agree to the exchange so quickly? Ye Changsheng laughed and cleverly avoided the topic. Hua Qingcheng looked at Hua Jiayu's overjoyed look, shook her head helplessly, and said, you really dote on her. Ye Changsheng smiled and said nothing, just gently holding Hua Jiayu's hand. In the sun, the two smiled at each other, their eyes full of happiness and sweetness. After the exchange meeting, Ye Changsheng, Hua Jiayu and Hua Qingcheng left the venue happily. As the sun set, the golden afterglow sprinkled on the 3 people, giving them a layer of warm light. That night, Ye Changsheng specially arranged a luxurious spiritual banquet to entertain Hua Qingcheng. At the spiritual banquet, there were all kinds of delicacies, and each dish exuded a rich spiritual aura, making people salivate. Hua Qingcheng looked at these expensive dishes and couldn't help but gasp, thinking that this meal would cost hundreds of thousands of spirit stones. However, Hua Jiayu didn't care at all and ate heartily. From time to time, she would act like a spoiled child and ask Ye Changsheng to pick up some food for her, and Ye Changsheng would dote on her to meet her demands. Hua Qingcheng saw all this and thought deeply. She finally understood that Ye Changsheng really loved Hua Jiayu, not just to please the Hua family as she had thought before. The next morning, Hua Qingcheng was going to leave for the Hua family. Chapter 293 Wu Beiman. Before leaving, she held Hua Jiayu's hand and told her, Jiayu, you have to take good care of yourself and the child. Don't be too willful. Hua Jiayu curled her lips and said dissatisfiedly, Aunt, I'm not a child anymore. Hua King Cheng shook her head helplessly, as if Hua Jiayu would always be the child who would never grow up. Ye Changsheng saw her off attentively, and prepared a lot of spiritual fruits and elixirs for Hua King Cheng to use on the road. After seeing Hua King Cheng off, life returned to peace. A month passed in a blink of an eye, and Ye Changsheng began to count what else needed to be dealt with. He found that only Shen Yufeng and King Lianhang's family had not been dealt with. King Lianhang didn't need to be dealt with, because she was the most powerful cultivator in the King family. And Shen Yufeng was a thorny problem, because she came from the powerful 5th level sect King Gaiuman. Ye Changsheng thought again and again, and decided to take the initiative instead of waiting for King Gaiuman to come to him. He came to Shen Yufeng and told her his intentions. After hearing this, Shen Yufeng's eyes flashed with a touch of emotion, and then nodded in agreement. So the two of them went to the Qingaiyu Gate station in Jingguan Fortress together. The one in charge of the affairs here was Shen Yufeng's uncle, the Taoist monk Wu Beiman. When Ye Changsheng and Shen Yufeng came to Wu Beiman, they couldn't help but be shocked by the momentum of this Taoist monk. Wu Beiman was wearing a green robe with complicated jade patterns embroidered on it, as if the jade was flowing. His face was majestic and his eyes were like lightning. Just standing there gave people a feeling of looking up to a mountain. Wu Beiman's cultivation was unfathomable, and there was a faint flow of Taoism around him, as if he was integrated with the world. Every move and every look of his contained infinite pressure, which made people dare not look directly at him. Even a genius monk like Ye Changsheng couldn't help but feel a little pressure in front of Wu Beiman. Ye Changsheng and Shen Yufeng bowed respectfully to Wu Beiman, and then Ye Changsheng directly explained his purpose, saying that he was here to redeem Shen Yufeng's soul lamp. After listening to this, Wu Beiman said calmly, "We in Qingaiyu sect already know about Shen Yufeng's affairs, but in our opinion, this is not an unusual thing. Shen Yufeng can always be a disciple of Qingaiyu sect, and she can also choose her own Taoist partner. This is her freedom." After listening to this, Ye Changsheng couldn't help but admire the generosity of Qingaiyu sect. But he still insisted, "Thank you for your enlightenment, but I still hope to redeem Shen Yufeng's soul lamp and go through the procedure of leaving the sect." Wu Beiman pondered for a moment, then nodded and said, "In this case, I can make the decision on this matter. Just pay 10 million spirit stones. As for Shen Yufeng's soul lamp, I will arrange for someone to retrieve it from the sect and give it directly to Shen Yufeng at that time." Ye Changsheng and Shen Yufeng were overjoyed when they heard this and thanked him repeatedly. Without saying anything, Ye Changsheng immediately took out 5 million middle grade spirit stones from his storage bag and handed them to Wu Beiman respectfully. Wu Beiman saw this, and a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. Then he smiled and said, "Friend Ye is really generous. I will accept this amount of spirit stones first. If you encounter any trouble in the future, you can come to me." Ye Changsheng and Shen Yufeng expressed their gratitude again, and Wu Beiman kindly gave them a few instructions and let them leave. After leaving the Qingaiyuman station, Shen Yufeng breathed a sigh of relief and looked at Ye Changsheng gratefully. Ye Changsheng smiled and held her hand. The two smiled at each other and set off on the way home. Ye Changsheng and Shen Yufeng were very happy. After returning from the Qingaiyuman station, Shen Yufeng finally got rid of the shackles of the sect and could follow Ye Changsheng wholeheartedly. Ye Changsheng also felt relieved that this potential trouble had been solved. After returning to the cave, Ye Changsheng decided to hold a family meeting and call all the female relatives together. He asked Shen Yufeng to notify others, and he began to prepare the items needed for the meeting. After a while, the women came to the hall one after another. Ye Changsheng looked at the scene in front of him, and his heart was filled with emotion. These beautiful women are all his Taoist companions. Although the process was a bit tortuous, they finally got together when everyone arrived. Ye Changsheng cleared his throat and said, "Everyone, I called you here today because there are several important things to announce." As soon as he finished speaking, he noticed the subtle atmosphere between the women. It turned out that Shen Yufeng, King Lianhang, Su Yurao and others were a little awkward with the other women. Ye Changsheng understood in his heart. After all, Shen Yufeng was the first one he knew, and the others were once Shen Yufeng's good sisters. Shen Yufeng seemed to have noticed this, and she cleverly broke the deadlock. "Oh, aren't these my 6 good sisters? Why are you worried?" that I will be lonely if I marry Ye Changsheng, so you all come to accompany me. This joke immediately made the atmosphere relaxed, and everyone couldn't help laughing. Ye Changsheng also breathed a sigh of relief and looked at Shen Yufeng with gratitude. Taking this opportunity, Ye Changsheng said, "Yufeng, I actually want to apologize to you. I shouldn't. I'll hook up with your sisters." He scratched his head a little embarrassedly, "but I can swear that I will never marry any new wives before the Purple Mansion period." Hearing this, Shen Yufeng showed an expression of "I don't believe it," but didn't say anything. The other women couldn't help but laugh when they heard this promise. Ye Changsheng cleared his throat and continued, "Okay, let's get down to business. The first thing is about the issue of housing. This cave is big enough, with 10 third level high grade cultivation caves. I hope you can all move here as soon as possible. It's better for everyone to take care of each other when we are together." When the girls heard this, they all nodded in agreement. Being able to live with the one they love is something they naturally want. The second thing, Ye Changsheng's tone became serious. "It is also the most important thing. That is about the distribution of Daoting Pill." As soon as these words came out, Shen Yufeng, King Lionhong, Su Yurao and others suddenly showed shocked expressions. Although they knew that Ye Changsheng had some strength, they did not expect that he could actually produce such a precious treasure as Daotingdan. Ye Changsheng looked at their surprised expressions and felt secretly proud in his heart. He continued, "Yes, since I asked you to follow me, I will naturally find a way for you to have the qualifications to advance to the Taoist court. Without further ado, I will start distributing the Taoist pills now. Those who have been given before I won't give it anymore, and those who get it should not reveal the grade of their Daotingdan to each other, so as not to cause unnecessary trouble." After saying that, Ye Changsheng began to distribute Daoting pills. He first took out 2 jade bottles and handed them to Shen Yufeng and King Lionhan respectively. They were filled with top grade Daoting pills. Then he took out 2 more secret treasure boxes and gave them to Liu Ruan and Hua Jiu. One contained the middle grade Daoting pill and the other contained the high grade Daoting pill. Chapter 294 Returning Home, Part 2. Then, he took out 2 jade bottles and gave them to Lin Zero and Su Yurao, which also contained top grade Daoting pills. Chu Yunnan and Mirren King had received Daoting pills before, so he didn't give them any more this time. In this way, Ye Changsheng still had 2 top grade Daoting pills left. The girls were ecstatic. After receiving the Daoting pills, this is a precious treasure that can give them the opportunity to break through to the Daoting realm. They looked at Ye Changsheng with gratitude and love in their eyes. Shen Yufeng suddenly joked, "Do you want me to bring the last sister Luo Shuiao to you?" Ye Changsheng heard this and shook his head. "This Miss Luo has a firm heart for Taoism. I'm not worthy of her." This sentence caused the girls to laugh, and the atmosphere became very joyful for a while. After the laughter, Ye Changsheng said, "Finally, there is one more thing I want to tell you. I need to go home recently to deal with some family affairs. It will take about a year and a half before I can come back. During this period, I hope everyone can get along well. Yufeng will still be in charge of the Liudan medicine shop, but I will leave enough medicine to ensure the normal operation of the shop." Hearing that Ye Changsheng would be away for so long, the women all showed reluctance on their faces, but they also knew that as the head of the family, Ye Changsheng naturally had many things to deal with. Shen Yufeng, as the eldest sister among the women, took the lead in expressing her opinion. "Changsheng, you can go without worry. We will take good care of ourselves and take good care of the Liudan medicine shop." Other women also nodded in agreement. Ye Changsheng looked at the group of beautiful and kind women in front of him, and his heart was full of happiness and gratitude. Ye Changsheng immediately left 300 pills of each of the 6 kinds of medicine to Shen Yufeng, asking her to maintain the business of Liudan. After explaining these things, Ye Changsheng rushed to the command center of Jinggayan Fortress without stopping. When he arrived at the command center, Ye Changsheng went directly to his supervisor and asked for a half-year vacation. After hearing this, the supervisor said with difficulty, "According to our regulations, you can only take a half-month vacation at most." Ye Changsheng's heart sank, and he was thinking about how to persuade the supervisor, but he heard the other party say again, However, there is a new rule now. If you are willing to spend 3 times the merit price, you can extend it to half a year. Hearing this news, Ye Changsheng was delighted and immediately agreed. No problem, I'm willing to pay 3 times the merit. The supervisor looked at Ye Changsheng in surprise, not expecting him to agree so readily. Ye Changsheng smiled in his heart. Isn't this designed for himself? I have so many merits that I can't spend them all, and it's perfect to use them to exchange for a half-year vacation point. After completing the leave procedures, Ye Changsheng began to prepare for the long journey point. He carefully checked his flying boat to make sure everything was working properly. Then, he put the 42 3-legged fire crows into the monster bag to prevent any dangerous situations on the road. After preparation, Ye Changsheng drove the flying boat and rushed towards Qinghu Peak. The flying boat drew a beautiful arc in the air, and the speed was so fast that it was breathtaking. Along the way, Ye Changsheng passed many unfamiliar mountains, rivers, and saw the customs of different regions. Sometimes he flew over dense forests. Sometimes he passed over vast grasslands, and occasionally he would encounter some small towns where immortal cultivators gathered. Whenever he encountered such a place, Ye Changsheng would stop for a while, replenish some necessities, and ask about the road conditions by the waypoint. In this way, after half a year of flying, Ye Changsheng finally arrived near Qinghu Peak. From a distance, a towering mountain stood in the clouds, and a circle of green lake water surrounded the mountainside, which was the symbol of Qinghu Peak. Ye Changsheng carefully controlled the flying boat to land and came to the foot of Qinghu Peak. He stood at the foot of the mountain, looking up at this familiar yet unfamiliar mountain, with mixed feelings in his heart. Looking around, the entire Qinghu Peak was peaceful and tranquil. On the mountainside, the emerald green lake was like a mirror, reflecting the blue sky and white clouds along the lakeside. Several exquisite attics were dotted in between, adding a bit of humanistic atmosphere to this landscape painting. At the foot of the mountain, a large area of spiritual field stretched as far as the eye could see, and the golden spiritual rice was swaying in the wind, emitting bursts of fragrance. In the fields, many cultivators were busy harvesting spiritual rice, and their faces were filled with the joy of a good harvest. At the edge of the spiritual field, rows of spiritual fruit trees were neatly arranged, and the branches were full of various spiritual fruits, some of which were golden, some were red, and some emitted a faint halo, which was very beautiful. Several young cultivators were carefully picking these precious spiritual fruits. For fear of hurting the branches on the hillside in the distance, a group of spirit beasts were leisurely eating grass, looking up at the sky from time to time, as if enjoying this rare quiet time. On the small road in the mountains, occasionally there were immortal cultivators riding flying swords, or sitting on spirit beasts passing by, adding a bit of immortal atmosphere to this pastoral scenery. Ye Changsheng looked at all this. His heart was full of joy and pride. Everything here is thriving, more prosperous than when he left. He took a deep breath, felt the breath of home, and couldn't help showing a gratified smile on his face. Ye Changsheng took a deep breath and walked towards Changsheng Garden. As soon as he stepped into the living room, he waved his hand and sent out dozens of communication paper talismans, flying to various places in the garden. After a while, familiar footsteps came from all directions, and the living room soon became lively. The first to arrive were his 10 wives, Li Qian, Zhao Wana, Lu Wan, Zhang Fei, Zhang Yun and others. They all looked the same, but their temperaments were more elegant. Following closely were dozens of children such as Ye Shengs and Ye Chengling, some of whom had grown up, and some of whom were still teenagers. Seeing their husbands and fathers who had been away for a long time, everyone's faces were filled with joy. Ye Changsheng smiled and looked around, his heart full of warmth. Everyone, I'm back, Ye Changsheng said softly. This time I went out and gained a lot. I brought gifts for everyone. As he said, he took out jade boxes from his storage bag and began to distribute the gifts. First, he walked to Zhang Fei and Zhang Yun, who had the highest cultivation, and handed each of them a jade box. Fear, Juna, your cultivation has improved and has reached the initial stage of the purple mansion. These are 12 Lingan fruits. I hope they can help you reach a higher level. Zhang, Fei and Zhang Yun happily took the jade boxes and thanked them repeatedly. Ye Changsheng came to Luan again and handed her a jade box. Wana, you have reached the 9th level of foundation building. These 12 Taoan fruits can help you stabilize your realm. Wan gratefully took the jade box, tears flashing in her eyes. Ye Changsheng then came to the other 7 wives in turn. They were all at the 7th level of foundation building, and each of them also received 12 Taoan fruits. Then, Ye Changsheng came to his children. He first went to Ye Shengs and Ye Shengling, the brother and sister who had reached the 4th level of foundation building. Chapter 295, Distributing Gifts. Zia, Linga, you are making rapid progress. These are 1200 yuan fruits. I hope they can help you break through to the late stage of foundation building as soon as possible. The brother and sister excitedly accepted the gift and bowed deeply to their father. The other children also received 12 yuan fruits. Although their cultivation levels were low, everyone had happy smiles on their faces. After distributing the gifts, Ye Changsheng said again, I have to go visit my grandfather and mother, and I will talk to you in detail later. After saying that, he quickly left the living room. Arriving at Ye Jiuhu's courtyard, Ye Changsheng saluted respectfully. Grandpa, my grandson is back. Ye Jiuhu looked at his grandson with joy and said with a smile, good boy, have you gained a lot from this trip? Ye Changsheng respectfully handed over a jade box and said, my grandson has received 5 early stage demon pills from the Purple Mansion. I hope they can help my grandpa's King Feng Peng to take a further step. Ye Jiuhu accepted it happily and said with a smile, okay, with these demon pills, my King Feng Peng will be able to break through to the 3rd floor of the Purple Mansion as soon as possible. After bidding farewell to his grandfather, Ye Changsheng came to his mother Cui Linglang's courtyard again. He knelt down and saluted, saying, mother, the child is back. Cui Linglang looked at her son lovingly and said, Changsheng, my mother will be relieved that you can come back safely. Ye Changsheng presented another jade box containing 5 early stage Zifu demon pills and said respectfully, my child is unfilial and makes my mother miss me. I hope these demon pills can help my mother's Jasper Kingluan cultivation to a higher level. Cui Linglang happily took the jade box and said softly, with these demon pills, my Jasper Kingluan should be able to break through to the Z mansion soon. After paying his respects to the elders, Ye Changsheng returned to his living room. He gathered together with his wife and children and recounted in detail his experiences and knowledge of this outing. Everyone listened with gusto and exclaimed from time to time. In the evening, Ye Changsheng held a sumptuous banquet and drank with his many wives and children. After 3 drinks, the atmosphere became more and more lively. Ye Changsheng looked at the happy scene in front of him, and his heart was filled with happiness and satisfaction. During the dinner, Ye Changsheng also specifically asked about everyone's cultivation progress and difficulties encountered, and gave targeted suggestions. Everyone listened carefully and nodded in agreement from time to time. The banquet lasted until late at night, and everyone returned home enjoying themselves. Ye Changsheng stood in the courtyard, looking at the stars in the sky, and secretly vowed in his heart that he must work harder to create a better cultivation environment for his family, and let the whole family go further and further in the world of immortality. Early the next morning, Ye Changsheng summoned the 3 daughters Luan, Zhang Yun and Zhang Fei. He couldn't wait to ask, how are you collecting information on marriageable partners? One respectfully handed over a jade slip and replied, husband, all the candidates are on this jade slip. Xianji Pavilion is very efficient, and we have sorted out all the information. Ye Changsheng took the jade slip and penetrated it with his spiritual consciousness. He was surprised to find that the information in the jade slips was extremely detailed, including not only each candidate's appearance, temperament, family background, but also spiritual root qualifications, cultivation techniques and other information that was most valued in the world of immortality. Even some of the more secret personal preferences are recorded. As expected of Xianji Pavilion, the intelligence network is really powerful. Ye Changsheng secretly praised. Apart from the fact that the charges are a bit expensive, the quality of the service is really nothing to say. He looked up at the 3 ladies and said with a smile, thank you for your hard work. You did a good job this time. You can go down first. The three women retreated after hearing this. Ye Changsheng sat alone in the study, carefully considering the situation of his children. Although there are many unmarried children of marriageable age, as many as a dozen, some of them have not yet established a foundation due to poor qualifications. Ye Changsheng thought for a moment, and decided to focus on cultivation. The marriages of these people could be postponed. The road to immortality is long. Without a sufficient foundation, marriage may become a burden. Ye Changsheng thought to himself, let's wait until they build the foundation. As a result, there are far fewer people who are actually of marriageable age. Ye Changsheng combed through it carefully and finally decided on 5 candidates. Lao San Naisheng's Sanlingjun is 27 years old and has built a 4th level of cultivation this year. The old 4-leaf creature, with double spiritual roots, is 27 years old and has established the 4th level of cultivation this year. Lao Wu Shengsun, 4 spiritual roots, 26 years old, building the 2nd floor of the foundation this year. Lao Qi Sheng Heo, 4 spiritual roots, 23 years old, built the 2nd floor of the foundation. The 15th old man has jade leaves and double spiritual roots. He is 21 years old and has a 2nd floor of foundation. 4 men and 1 woman need to marry 4 and marry 1. Ye Changsheng pondered for a moment and decided to start with the boss first. He called his servants and said, go and call the 3rd young master. Not long after, Ye Changsheng came to the study and saluted respectfully. Father. Ye Changsheng smiled and nodded, handed the jade slip to his son, and said, Shengs, you have reached the age to start a family. Here is some information about female cultivators of the right age. See if you like any of them. I suggest you choose a girl with a Taoist background and dual spiritual roots. Ye Changsheng was overjoyed when he heard this. He quickly took the jade slip and said gratefully, thank you father for worrying about the child. The child will definitely choose carefully. After saying that, he couldn't wait to put the jade slip close to his eyebrows and began to carefully read the information in it. When Ye Changsheng saw this, he didn't bother him and waited quietly. After about 2 sticks of incense passed, Ye Changsheng finally raised his head, his eyes shining with excitement. He respectfully handed the jade slip back to his father and said, Father, the child has been chosen. It is Miss Su Wanking from Duyuman, Zhao County, the great Jin cultivation world. Ye Changsheng took the jade slip and carefully checked Su Wanking's information. I saw the jade slip showing Su Wanking, 20 years old, with a 1st level foundation cultivation level and dual spiritual root qualifications. His grandfather, Su Jianbei, was the head of Duyuman and a powerful monk with a 4th level Taoist cultivation level. What makes Ye Changsheng even more satisfied is that Su Wanking is not only from a famous family, but also has excellent conditions. The jade slips record that she had a gentle temperament, excellent appearance, and was well known among her peers. Yes, this girl is indeed a good match. Ye Changsheng nodded with satisfaction. You have a good sense. Ye Changsheng was overjoyed when he heard this and quickly thanked him. Thank you father for the compliment. The child will definitely cherish this marriage. Ye Changsheng smiled and waved his hand and said, okay, you go down first. By the way, help me call your 5th brother Shengzuan over. Ye Changsheng left in response, filled with expectations for the future. Ye Changsheng looked at his son's leaving figure and couldn't help but smile with relief. He thought to himself, Ingz is a calm and determined kid. I think there won't be much problem in his future marriage. It's just that the Su family needs me to go there in person to discuss the betrothal gift. While he was thinking, Ye Changsheng had already arrived at the door of the study. Ye Changsheng gathered his thoughts and prepared to choose a suitable wife for his less qualified son. Chapter 296 Selecting a daughter-in-law. He believed that, as long as they worked hard, every marriage would blossom into a beautiful flower. Ye Changsheng knocked on the door gently, and after getting his father's permission, he respectfully walked into the study. Father, Ye Changsheng bowed. Ye Changsheng smiled and nodded, motioning his son to sit down. He handed another jade slip to Ye Changsheng and said, Changsheng, you are also old enough to get married. Here are some information about female cultivators of the right age. See if you like any of them. I suggest you also choose a girl with a Taoist background and dual spiritual roots. Ye Changsheng took the jade slip and said nervously, "Thank you, father, for worrying about me. I will definitely make a careful choice." He put the jade slip close to his brow and began to carefully check the information, and at point seeing this, Ye Changsheng did not disturb him, but quietly sipped tea, waiting for his son to make a choice point. After about 2 incense sticks of time, Ye Changsheng finally raised his head. With a gleam of expectation in his eyes, he handed the jade slip back to his father respectfully and said, "Father, I have already chosen. It is Miss Xiaolingshan from the Xiao family of Bayan County in the Great Song Dynasty." Ye Changsheng took the jade slip and carefully checked Xiaolingshan's information point. The jade slip showed Xiaolingshan, 20 years old, first level of foundation building, dual spiritual root qualifications. Her great-grandfather Xiao Yuanqing was the head of the Xiao family of Bayan County and had a 4th level Dao court cultivation point. What made Ye Changsheng even more satisfied was that Xiaolingshan not only came from a famous family but also had excellent conditions. The jade slip recorded that she was gentle and generous, beautiful, and well known among her peers. Yes, this girl is indeed a good match. Ye Changsheng nodded with satisfaction. You have a good vision. Although the Xiao family is not as prominent as the Duyuman, it is also a family with a high status in the Song dynasty's cultivation world. If this marriage is successful, it will also be helpful for the development of our Yi family in the Song dynasty. Ye Changsheng was overjoyed when he heard this and hurriedly thanked him. "Thank you for your praise, father. The child will definitely cherish this marriage and live up to your father's expectations." Ye Changsheng smiled and waved his hand, saying, "Okay, you go down first. By the way, please help me call your 7th brother Sheng Hao to come." Ye Changsheng responded and left, his heart full of longing for the future point. Not long after, Ye Sheng Hao came to the study and saluted his father. Ye Changsheng still handed him a jade slip and instructed, "Sheng Hao, you also look at the information of these eligible female cultivators and choose one you like. Remember, you must choose a woman with dual spiritual roots from the background of the Dao court." Ye Sheng Hao took the jade slip and checked it carefully. After about 2 incense sticks, he raised his head, his eyes flashing with excitement. "Father, I have chosen Miss Hua Qinglian from the Hua family in Guan County of the Great Qin cultivation world." Ye Changsheng checked Hua Qinglian's information. 21 years old, 2nd level foundation building, dual spiritual root qualifications. Her grandfather Hua Yunshan is the head of the Hua family in Guan County and has a 4th level Dao court cultivation point. Hua Qinglian is not only outstanding in qualifications but also good at alchemy and is quite famous among the younger generation of the Great Qin. Okay, this choice is very good. Ye Changsheng nodded in approval. The Hua family is also a well-known family in the Great Qin cultivation world. It is also good for our Yi family to marry them. Ye Changsheng smiled and waved his hand, saying, "Okay, you go down first. By the way, please help me call your 15th brother Sheng Gai over." Ye Sheng Hao responded and left, his heart full of expectations for the future. Ye Changsheng looked at his back and felt a little relieved. He knew that, although Sheng Hao's qualifications were slightly inferior, as long as he had a suitable partner, his future cultivation path would be much smoother. Not long after, Ye Changgai walked into the study room and saw his father waiting for him, so he bowed respectfully and said, "Father." Ye Changsheng smiled slightly, handed him the jade slip, and said, "Sheng Gaiu, you are also old enough to get married. Here are some information about female cultivators of the right age. See if you like any of them. I suggest you choose a woman with a natural spiritual root from a purple mansion background." Ye Sheng Gaiu took the jade slip, full of expectations. He put the jade slip close to his brows and began to carefully check the information, and at point seeing this, Ye Changsheng stopped disturbing him and waited quietly. After about 2 incense sticks of time, Ye Changgai finally raised his head. With a hint of determination in his eyes, he handed the jade slip back to his father and said, "Father, I have chosen one. It is Miss Yi Xian from the Purple Mansion Yi family in Ning County of the Han Xiuxin realm." Ye Changsheng took the jade slip and carefully checked Yi Xian's information. The jade slip showed Yi Xian, 19 years old, first level foundation building, natural spiritual root qualification point. Her family has a prominent position in the world of immortal cultivation. Ye Xian is not only extremely talented, but also extremely beautiful, more beautiful than the current women in the Ye family. Moreover, the head of the Ye family decided to hold a flower viewing meeting in a month, inviting all kinds of talents to attend. And it is okay if you don't receive an invitation letter. Ye Changsheng pondered for a moment, and said to his son, Shengaiyu, this Ye Xian is indeed a good choice. However, I'm afraid that many people will favor her. It seems that the Ye family is preparing to adopt a bidding auction model. Ye Shengaiyu smiled slightly and said, Father, I know this choice is a bit difficult, but I believe that with the strength of our Ye family, we will definitely win. Moreover, Ye Xian's talent is so outstanding. If we can marry her, it will definitely be of great benefit to the future development of our Ye family. Ye Changsheng listened to his son's words and couldn't help but smile approvingly. Okay, since you have this idea, your father will fully support it. Fortunately, there is a month of preparation time, so we can plan calmly. Ye Shengaiyu thanked him happily and then left. Ye Changsheng looked at his son's back and couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Each of the marriages chosen for the children this time was not simple. Especially Ye Shengaiyu's marriage, which required careful planning. He secretly calculated, it seems that we have to contact each family as soon as possible and start discussing the betrothal gifts. For Ye Xian, we must make full preparations, not only to win in financial resources, but also to show the strength and sincerity of the Ye family in other aspects. Thinking of this, Ye Changsheng immediately called the servants and began to arrange a series of preparations. He believed that, as long as he managed it carefully, every marriage would bloom beautiful flowers and bring a more glorious future to the Ye family. Ye Changsheng carefully screened the dual spiritual root heroes who were of marriageable age in the jade slip, and finally selected 30 young cultivators with flexible minds, handsome looks, and good character. He sorted the information of these people into a new jade slip, and then called the family butler Ye Changsheng. Jing, you're just in time. Ye Changsheng handed the jade slip to the housekeeper. Here is the information of 30 outstanding young cultivators. I need you to send an invitation to each of them. Just say that my daughter Ye Changsheng invites them to come and taste the spiritual fruit in 4 months. Ye Changsheng took the jade slip respectfully and listened carefully to the instructions of the head of the family. Yes, head of the family. I'll arrange it right away. After he finished speaking, he quickly left the study and began to prepare the invitations and arrange for their delivery. Chapter 297. The Kinhua family. Ye Changsheng looked at the butler's leaving figure and couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Time is running out, and he must seize every minute and every second. Early the next morning, Ye Changsheng gathered his 4 sons and prepared to set off for Guan County in the world of immortal cultivation in Great Kin. Children, we are leaving immediately. Ye Changsheng said to his 4 sons, my father has prepared the Xing flying boat. With my current cultivation level at the 3rd level of Zifu, we should be able to reach our destination faster. The 5 people boarded the Xing spaceship. This spaceship was entirely silver white, and its streamlined design made it look both elegant and powerful. Ye Changsheng stood at the bow of the ship, formed seals with his hands, and injected a stream of spiritual power into the flying boat. Suddenly, the Xing soared into the sky, turned into a stream of light, and sped towards the Great Kin cultivation world. During the flight, Ye Changsheng explained in detail the purpose and precautions of the trip to his sons. This time we are visiting the Hua family mainly for Sheng Heo's marriage. Everyone must cheer up and show the style of our Ye family. 3 days later, the Xing flying boat finally arrived over Guan County. Ye Changsheng waved his hand gently, and the flying boat slowly landed in an open space outside the gate of Huajia Mountain. The 5 people arranged their clothes and walked towards the Huajia Mountain gate with their heads held high. When the disciple guarding the door saw this, he quickly stepped forward to ask. Ye Changsheng said gently, Your Majesty. Ye Changsheng, the head of the Ye family of Zifu, Tang County, Zhao State, came with his son to pay homage to your mansion. When The gatekeeper disciple heard this, his expression became stern, and he quickly said, "Please wait a moment, I will report it right away." After saying that, he quickly ran towards the inner courtyard. Not long after, an old man with a kind face and extraordinary bearing walked out of the inner courtyard. He was wearing a luxurious blue robe, and there was a majesty between his brows. "Welcome to you, fellow Daoist Ye." The old man smiled and said, "I'm Ye Changsheng, the elder Zyke of the Hua family." Ye Changsheng was shocked. He did not expect that the Zyke elder of the Hua family was actually a cultivator of the Zifu. He returned the greeting calmly. "Elder Hua, you're so polite. I'm taking the liberty to come to visit, and I hope Heihan will do so." Hua Changsheng welcomed Ye Changsheng and his party into a living room. At this time, Ye Changsheng smiled and took out an exquisite jade box from the storage bag and presented it with both hands. "It's my first visit, and I brought some small gifts. It's not respectful." Hua Changsheng took the jade box and opened it, but his body was shocked. He saw a gift list in the jade box, which read, 1/3 level top grade 9 death resurrection fruit, 1 earth mother's rebirth fruit, 1000 life fruit, 3 soul fruit. On behalf of the Hua family, I would like to thank the head of the Ye family for the generous gift. After Hua Changsheng finished speaking, he bowed. Hua Changsheng smiled and looked at Ye Changsheng and his party. Fellow Taoists came to the door and brought the young masters with him. "I wonder if he wants to discuss marriage with our Hua family." Ye Changsheng smiled and said, "Fellow Taoist is indeed very discerning, and you are right. Quanzi has fallen in love with the aristocratic Miss Hua Kinglian and wants to form a marriage. I don't know if it is feasible." Hearing this, Elder Zyke looked troubled. "I can't make the decision on this. I'll go ask her father to come." After saying that, he hurriedly turned around and entered the mansion. Not long after, a late-stage foundation building monk wearing a luxurious robe and an extraordinary bearing walked over quickly. He stepped forward to meet Ye Changsheng and stated that he was Hua Changsheng and Hua Kinglian was his daughter. Ye Changsheng once again explained his purpose to Hua Changsheng. After hearing this, Hua Changsheng looked thoughtful and asked, "I wonder which young master is interested in the little girl." Ye Changsheng motioned for Ye Changsheng to come forward and said, "This is it, the dog Ye Changsheng." Hua Changsheng looked Ye Changsheng up and down. Seeing this, Ye Changsheng quickly explained, "Although this son has average qualifications and only has 4 spiritual roots, he has taken many precious elixirs to enhance his spiritual roots. Now he is probably at the level of 3 spiritual roots, and as long as he does not appear surprised is what Zifu expected." Hearing that Ye Changsheng only had the 4 spiritual root qualifications, a flash of shock flashed across Hua Changsheng's face, and then his disgust was revealed. He suppressed his displeasure, patiently listened to Ye Changsheng's words, and then said tactfully, "My little girl has been spoiled since she was a child, and she has no plans to leave the court yet." Seeing that the situation was not going well, Ye Changsheng immediately interrupted him. "Fellow Daoist Hua, you might as well take a look at the betrothal gift given by our family, and it's not too late to make a decision." After saying that, he took out an exquisite jade box from his storage bag and pushed it in front of Hua Changsheng. Hua Changsheng opened the jade box with curiosity and doubt. When he saw the contents clearly, his eyes widened instantly, and he looked at Ye Changsheng in disbelief. There were actually 2 middle-grade Zifu pills and 10 top-grade foundation establishment pills lying in the jade box. The value of these elixirs is high enough to make many immortal cultivating families go crazy for them. Seeing Hua Changsheng's reaction, Ye Changsheng was secretly happy and continued, "I'm just a 3rd level alchemist. Although he can only refine 2nd level high grade elixirs, he can only pretend to be smarter at this moment. As long as Miss Hua Kinglian gets married, I promise to arrange a high grade Zifu pill for her. In this way, she has a great chance of advancing to Zifu. And as far as I know, the qualifications of Erlingen are enough for your family to take high grade Zifu. Dan wants to line up too." Hua Changsheng was completely shocked when he heard this. He himself has the qualifications of the 3 spiritual roots. Although his father is the ancestor of Taoting, there are many sons who cannot stand it, and many have better qualifications than him. So he hasn't been ranked in the queue. to use the Zifu pill yet point. If he agrees to this marriage, at least one of the two Zifu pills will belong to him. Other families are not so generous. Ye Changsheng's expression changed several times, and he was torn between his conscience and his desires. On the one hand, he was unwilling to marry his daughter to a mediocre cultivator. On the other hand, the betrothal gift was too tempting, which would not only benefit his daughter, but also himself. After some thought, Ye Changsheng finally said, I don't have any opinion on this matter, but I have to see what my daughter thinks. Can Senior Ye stay here for a day and listen to our reply? Ye Changsheng was overjoyed when he heard this, and laughed. Of course. But we can wait for 3 days at most. If the nobles don't agree, we have to go somewhere else. Ye Changsheng quickly agreed, and then told the servants to arrange for Ye Changsheng and his party to stay. He hurried away, ready to discuss this marriage with his daughter. Ye Changsheng looked at Ye Changsheng's back as he left, and secretly calculated in his heart. Although the betrothal gift this time was generous, if he could marry a talented wife for his son, it would definitely be of great benefit to the future development of the Ye family. He believed that as long as Ye Changsheng was not too willful and capricious, this marriage would have a great chance of success. In the following time, Ye Changsheng brought his sons to the Ye family as guests, enjoying the garden scenery of the Ye family. While waiting for the final answer the next morning, Ye Changsheng brought Ye Changsheng to the courtyard where Ye Changsheng lived. Upon hearing the news, Ye Changsheng immediately went out to greet them, and his eyes fell on Ye Changsheng involuntarily. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 298. Ye King Lotus. Ye Changsheng was wearing a light blue dress, with her long black hair tied up with a jade hairpin. She had a beautiful face and elegant temperament. Her eyes were clear and bright, and her every move revealed the elegant temperament of a lady from a noble family. Ye Changsheng was secretly happy, thinking that such a woman was indeed a good match for his son. Ye Changsheng smiled and said, Senior Ye, I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. This is my daughter Ye Changsheng, and I brought her to see you today. Ye Changsheng quickly responded, fellow Daoist Ye, you are too polite. Changsheng is indeed a natural beauty, no wonder the Ye family treasures her. Ye Changsheng smiled slightly when she heard the compliment, and bowed to Ye Changsheng. Junior Ye Changsheng, meet Senior Ye. Ye Changsheng was even more satisfied to see Ye Changsheng behave properly, and then invited the father and daughter to take a seat. Ye Changsheng said straight to the point, Senior Ye, after a night of consideration and discussion with my daughter, we have made a decision. Ye Changsheng's heart tightened, and he asked calmly, I wonder what Daoist Ye's decision is. Ye Changsheng glanced at Ye Changsheng, and motioned for her to speak for herself. Ye Changsheng nodded slightly, then turned to Ye Changsheng, and said in a clear and pleasant voice, Senior Ye, after careful consideration, I have decided to accept this marriage. Ye Changsheng was overjoyed when he heard this, but he still suppressed his excitement and asked, I wonder why the lady made this decision. Ye Changsheng smiled and explained, Senior Ye, I didn't agree, because of the conditions of the Ye family. In fact, my father told me that, although Mr. Ye is not talented, he has extraordinary perseverance and wisdom. Being able to advance to the 3rd level of foundation building at this age shows how diligent he is in cultivation. I believe that a person's achievement depends not only on talent, but more importantly on hard work and persistence. Mr. Ye can do this, which has proved his potential. She paused and continued, besides, I believe that Mr. Ye can understand the hardships of cultivation, and will cherish his hard-earned cultivation in the future. Such cultivators often go further than those who rely solely on talent. I think Mr. Ye is such a good match worthy of entrusting his life. After hearing what Ye Changsheng said, Ye Changsheng was even more happy. He didn't expect Ye Changsheng to be not only outstanding in appearance, but also so knowledgeable. Such a daughter-in-law is a great blessing for the Ye family. Ye Changsheng added, Senior Ye, my daughter's idea coincides with mine. Although our Hua family is rich and powerful, we also know that talent is not the only factor for success. Mr. Ye can achieve such achievements with mediocre qualifications, which shows his extraordinariness. I believe that this marriage will definitely become a good story. Ye Changsheng nodded repeatedly and said gratefully, I admire the insights of fellow Daoist Hua and Miss Kinglian. Although my Ye family is not as prominent as the Hua family, I can guarantee that I will treat Miss Kinglian well in the future and make her the jewel in the palm of the Ye family. Hua Changsheng smiled and said, Senior Ye, you are too kind. Since both parties have agreed, why don't we let the two children meet and exchange tokens now? Ye Changsheng readily agreed and immediately called Ye Changsheng point. After a while, Ye Changsheng came to the courtyard point. When he saw Hua Kinglian, he was stunned for a moment, obviously shocked by her beauty. Seeing this, Ye Changsheng coughed lightly and signaled his son to salute. Ye Changsheng came back to his senses and bowed respectfully to Hua Changsheng and Hua Kinglian. Under the urging of Ye Changsheng, Ye Changsheng took out an exquisite heart-shaped pendant from his arms and presented it with both hands. Miss Kinglian, this is a token I prepared for you. I hope you like it. Hua Kinglian took the heart-shaped pendant, looked at it carefully, and showed a look of surprise on her face. Thank you, Mr. Ye. This heart-shaped pendant is exquisitely carved and has profound meaning. I like it very much, as she said. She also took the jade hairpin from her hair and handed it to Ye Changsheng. Mr. Ye, this jade hairpin is my favorite jewelry on weekdays. I will give it to you as a token today. Ye Changsheng carefully took the jade hairpin, looked at it for a long time, and then put it away. After the two exchanged tokens, Ye Changsheng and Hua Changsheng smiled at each other, and both felt that the marriage was set in stone. Hua Changsheng said, since the two children have exchanged tokens, it is considered to be officially engaged. Senior Ye, I wonder what you think about the wedding date. Ye Changsheng thought for a moment and said, why not set it in 3 months? Give both parties some time to prepare, and it won't be delayed too long. Hua Changsheng nodded in agreement. 3 months is just right. Then it's settled. In 3 months, our Hua family will send the bride and hold the wedding at the Ye family. After the two families reached an agreement, they discussed some details of the wedding. Hua Kinglian behaved generously throughout the whole process, and from time to time she would make some suggestions to make Ye Changsheng more satisfied with this future daughter-in-law. After the discussion, Ye Changsheng stood up and said goodbye. Fellow Daoist Hua, since the marriage is set, we should also say goodbye. In these 3 months, we still have to make many preparations for the wedding. Hua Changsheng and Hua Kinglian stood up to see him off. Before leaving, Hua Kinglian said to Ye Changsheng, Mr. Ye, I hope you can make new progress when we meet again in 3 months. I will always cheer for you. After hearing this, Ye Changsheng showed a firm look on his face. Miss Kinglian, don't worry, I will work harder to practice and will never let you down. After the two sides said goodbye, Ye Changsheng left the Hua family with his 4 sons along the way. Ye Changsheng was in a good mood and kept telling Ye Changsheng to cherish this relationship, practice hard, and not let Hua Kinglian down. According to the optimal route planned by Ye Changsheng before, because Dakin was close to Dasing, Ye Changsheng and his party finally arrived at the Daoting Zhao family in Bayan County. The Xiuxin world of Dasing. After 3 days of galloping. As one of the top Xiuxin families in Bayan County, the Zhao family has a magnificent and majestic mountain gate. Ye Changsheng stood in front of the mountain gate with his 4 sons, tidied his clothes, and then went forward to knock on the mountain gate of the Zhao family. Not long after, an old man with a kind face walked out of the mountain gate. He was dressed in a green robe and had an elegant temperament. He was obviously an elder of the Zhao family. The old man walked up to Ye Changsheng, bowed and said, I'm Zhao Mingyan, the elder of the Zhao family. I wonder where you are from and what you can do for me. Ye Changsheng quickly responded, I'm Ye Changsheng, the head of the King's Huyi family in the great Zhao Xiuxin world. Today I have brought 4 children to visit your house. I hope Elder Zhao can be accommodating. Zhao Mingyan heard this, and a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes, then smiled and said, so it is Senior Yi who has come. I'm so sorry. Please follow me into the house for a chat. After that, Zhao Mingyuan made a gesture of invitation and led Ye Changsheng and his party into the Zhao family mountain gate. Chapter 299 Zhao Lingshan. Along the way, Zhao Mingyuan enthusiastically introduced the scenery of the Zhao family to Ye Changsheng. Ye Changsheng also nodded and praised from time to time. There was a tacit understanding between the two parties. Arriving at a quiet courtyard, Zhao Mingyuan invited Ye Changsheng and others to take a seat and ordered people to serve fragrant tea. After everyone sat down, Zhao Mingyuan said with a smile, "Senior Ye has come all the way. What's the important matter, Ye?" Changsheng said seriously, "Elder Zhao, I have taken the liberty to come here today because we really have something important to discuss with." That said, Ye Changsheng took out an exquisite brocade box from his storage bag and placed it in front of Zhao Mingyuan. Ye Changsheng continued, "This is a little thought from my Ye family, and I hope Elder Zhao will accept it." Zhao Mingyuan did not doubt that he was there. He took the brocade box and opened it. He was shocked and speechless. I saw 4 air fruits lying in the brocade box, a 3rd level high grade 9 death resurrection fruit, a earth mother rebirth fruit, or 1000 life fruit, and a 3 soul fruit. Each of these 4 fruits is priceless, enough to make any monk crazy for it. Zhao Mingyuan quickly closed the brocade box and pushed it back to Ye Changsheng. "Senior Ye, this gift is too valuable. I, the Zhao family, have no merit and no reward, so I really don't dare to accept it." Ye Changsheng smiled and said, "Elder Zhao is serious. These fruits are just a few extraneous things to our Ye family. Please accept them, Elder Zhao. If you refuse, you will look down on my Ye family." Zhao Mingyuan saw that Ye Changsheng was so insistent and had to accept it, but he was even more curious about the purpose of Ye Changsheng's trip. When Ye Changsheng saw Zhao Mingyuan accepting the gift, he slowly revealed the true purpose of his trip. "To be honest, I came here today because my son, Ye Changsheng, has admired Miss Zhao Lingshan of your house for a long time and wants to marry her. I also hope that Zhao will marry me. The elders can make it happen." When Zhao Mingyuan heard this, his eyes fell on Ye Changsheng involuntarily. I saw that Ye Changsheng had an extraordinary temperament and decent manners. He was indeed a rare hero. Zhao Mingyuan smiled and said, "Young Master Ye is indeed a talented person and extremely intelligent. It's just that this marriage is of great importance and I can't make the decision alone. How about this? I'll report it to Lingshan's grandfather, Elder Zhao Liansheng, and see what he thinks." Ye Changsheng nodded and said, "Then Elder Lao Zhao will be here." Zhao Mingyuan stood up and left and came back not long after. He said to Ye Changsheng with a smile on his face, "Senior Ye, Elder Zhao Liansheng has agreed to meet you. Please come with me." Ye Changsheng was overjoyed when he heard this and quickly got up and followed Zhao Mingyuan to Zhao Liansheng's residence. Zhao Mingyuan led Ye Changsheng and his party through several corridors and arrived at a quiet courtyard. The courtyard is full of flowers and trees, rockery and flowing water, which makes it feel like a fairyland. Passing through the courtyard, everyone came to a spacious living room. As soon as he entered the living room, Ye Changsheng saw an old man sitting on the main seat. The old man's face was haggard, his eyes were lifeless, and his body was stooped, as if a gust of wind could blow him down. His breathing was rapid and weak, as if he might die at any time. Although he was wearing a luxurious robe, the robe seemed empty, as if there was only a skeleton left inside. The old man's hands were resting on the armrests of the chair. His fingers were as dry as firewood and his skin was covered with age spots. His face was covered with deep wrinkles. His eye sockets were sunken. His cheekbones were high, and he looked like a mummy. This old man is Zhao Liansheng, and now his life is exhausted, and his life is not long. When Zhao Liansheng saw everyone coming in, he forced a smile and said in a hoarse voice, "Senior Ye came all the way. I should have stood up to greet him, but I was seriously injured and couldn't move. It's really rude." Ye Changsheng quickly waved his hand and said, "Old Zhao, you are serious. You are highly respected. How dare we, the younger generation, let you stand up to greet you?" Zhao Liansheng nodded and motioned for everyone to take their seats. After everyone sat down, Ye Changsheng couldn't help but ask, "Senior Zhao, I don't know what you are." Zhao Liansheng gave a bitter smile, waved his hand and said, I'm old, my cultivation has regressed, and I accidentally suffered some injuries, which is nothing to worry about. Hearing this, Ye Changsheng frowned slightly and asked, Senior Zhao, you are the biological son of Senior Zhao Wuji, the ancestor of the Taoist court. Who dares to do anything against you, Zhao? Liansheng shook his head and sighed. My father has many heirs, and I'm just an ordinary one among them. How can I bother my father to go to war over such a trivial matter? Although these words were said in an understatement, everyone present could hear the helplessness in them. Obviously, Zhao Liansheng was plotted against, but for some reasons, he did not want to make it public. Ye Changsheng was about to ask again, but Zhao Liansheng changed the subject. I feel ashamed to say that, although I have many children, none of them have spiritual roots. However, when it comes to the grandchildren, there are a few good seedlings. Having said this, Zhao Liansheng's eyes flashed with relief, and he continued, especially my granddaughter Lingshan, who has been smart since she was a child, and I have been cultivating her carefully. Now that she has grown up, it is time to find a good partner for her. Homecoming. When Ye Changsheng saw Zhao Liansheng mentioning Zhao Lingshan, he immediately took over the conversation and said with a smile, Miss Zhao is indeed a rare talent. She is beautiful and smart, and she is the best among the younger generation. Our Ye family also knows that there are many people pursuing Miss Zhao. Zhao Liansheng nodded, as if waiting for Ye Changsheng to continue. Ye Changsheng took a deep breath and said seriously, in order to express the sincerity of my Ye family, we are willing to use 2 middle grade Zifu pills and 10 top grade foundation building pills as betrothal gifts. Not only that, as long as Miss Zhao marries into my Ye family, once she reaches the 9th level of foundation building, our Ye family will immediately prepare a top grade Zifudin for her. When these words came out, Zhao Liansheng and Zhao Mingyuan were both shocked. Such a betrothal gift has exceeded their expectations, especially the promise of the top grade Zifu pill, which made them excited. Zhao Liansheng pondered for a moment and asked, I wonder which young man in Senior Ye's family has taken a fancy to my Lingshan. Upon hearing this, Ye Changsheng immediately called out, Shengsun, why don't you come out and meet Senior Zhao? Upon hearing this, Ye Changsheng immediately stepped forward and bowed respectfully to Zhao Liansheng. Ye Changsheng introduced with a smile, this is my son Ye Changsheng. Although he is young, he has a very good understanding and an amazing speed of cultivation. The only shortcoming is that his spiritual root aptitude is a little poor, but I have let him take rare spiritual medicine, and now his spiritual root aptitude is no less than 3 spiritual roots. As long as nothing unexpected happens, he will definitely be able to advance to the Purple Mansion in the future. Zhao Liansheng looked at Ye Changsheng carefully, nodded, and praised, Mr. Ye is indeed good looking, and has extraordinary understanding. I think he and my Lingshan are a good match. Hearing what Zhao Liansheng said, Ye Changsheng was overjoyed and hurriedly said, in this case, I wonder if Senior Zhao can agree to this marriage. Zhao Liansheng pondered for a moment, slowly nodded and said, well, I agree to this marriage. Chapter 300. The Zhao family agrees. Ye Changsheng was overjoyed when he heard this and said, Senior Zhao, to be honest, I'm currently serving in the Golden Light Fortress, and I'm also taking leave this time. So I hope to hold the engagement ceremony as soon as possible and hold the wedding on time on the first day of the first lunar month 3 months later. What do you think, Senior Zhao? Zhao Liansheng thought for a moment and nodded in agreement. After the matter was settled, Zhao Mingyuan took Ye Changsheng and his party out of Zhao Liansheng's residence and returned to the guest room. On the way back, Zhao Mingyuan hesitated to speak and finally whispered to Ye Changsheng, Senior Ye, to be honest, Elder Zhao Liansheng may not have much time left. He agreed so happily this time, probably for the sake of his 3 grandsons with spiritual roots. Ye Changsheng heard this and immediately understood. The next morning, the sun was bright and the breeze was blowing. Zhao Liansheng sent someone to notify Ye Changsheng and others to go to his courtyard to prepare for the engagement ceremony of Ye Changsheng and Zhao Lingshan. When Ye Changsheng and his party arrived at Zhao Liansheng's courtyard, they saw that the courtyard was newly decorated and filled with a festive atmosphere. Zhao Liansheng and Zhao Mingyuan had been waiting for a long time. When they saw Ye Changsheng and others coming, they immediately went forward to greet them. Senior Ye, you are here at the right time, Zhao Liansheng said with a smile. Lingshan will be here soon. As soon as the voice fell, a light footsteps came. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound and saw a girl in a light pink dress walking slowly. Her skin was as white as cream, her eyebrows were as beautiful as paintings, and her big lively eyes seemed to be able to speak, flashing with the light of wisdom. Her long hair fell like a waterfall, swaying slightly as she walked, adding a bit of lively beauty. This girl was Zhao Lingshan. She walked in front of everyone. First bowed to Zhao Liansheng, then turned to Ye Changsheng and others, smiled, and said, Lingshan greets Senior Ye. Ye Changsheng looked at the beautiful girl in front of him, and nodded secretly. No wonder Zhao Liansheng cherishes her so much. This Zhao Lingshan is indeed a rare genius, Miss Lingshan. There is no need to be polite, Ye Changsheng said with a smile, and then pointed to Ye Changsheng beside him and introduced, this is my son Ye Changsheng. Ye Changsheng looked at Zhao Lingshan in front of him, and was stunned for a while. It was not until Ye Changsheng coughed lightly that he came back to his senses and hurriedly saluted Zhao Lingshan and said, Changsheng greets Miss Lingshan. Zhao Lingshan smiled slightly and said softly, Mr. Ye is polite. Zhao Liansheng nodded with satisfaction when he saw this, and then said, since everyone is here, let's start. Under the auspices of Zhao Liansheng, Ye Changsheng and Zhao Lingshan began to exchange engagement tokens. Ye Changsheng took out an exquisite heart-shaped pendant and handed it to Zhao Lingshan respectfully. Zhao Lingshan took out a beautifully embroidered handkerchief and gently placed it in Ye Changsheng's hand. After the two exchanged the engagement token, Zhao Liansheng nodded with satisfaction, then turned to Zhao Lingshan and said earnestly, Lingshan, your grandpa, will not live for many days. You have good qualifications, and the Ye family promised to give you a top-grade purple mansion in the future, so you are likely to advance to the purple mansion. As for Ye Changsheng, the Ye family has many means, and it is not difficult for him to advance to the purple mansion. In this way, you and your wife are both purple mansion cultivators, and this immortal path is not in vain. I'm relieved about you. Hearing Zhao Liansheng's words, Zhao Lingshan burst into tears and covered her mouth and cried bitterly. Her cry was so sincere and moving that everyone present couldn't help but feel sad. At this time, Ye Changsheng took out a jade box from the storage bag, which contained three soul fruits and 3,000-year-old fruits. He handed the jade box to Ye Changsheng and signaled him with his eyes to give it to Zhao Liansheng. Ye Changsheng understood, took the jade box and stepped forward, saying respectfully, Grandpa, these are some third-level spiritual fruits from my Ye family, which should help your condition. Ye Changsheng then explained, Old Zhao, this 3-soul fruit can replenish your soul power, and the 1,000-year-old fruit can replenish your physical vitality. These two fruits can be used together to extend your life by 30 years. Hearing this, Zhao Lingshan stopped crying, bowed deeply to Ye Changsheng and Ye Changsheng, and said gratefully, Senior Ye, Mr. Ye, Lingshan will definitely repay your great kindness. Seeing Zhao Lingshan so serious, Ye Changsheng blushed and didn't know how to respond for a while. Ye Changsheng laughed and said, you don't have to repay me for anything. There are few people in my branch, and there are too many materials for cultivating immortals. After you marry Changsheng, give me a few more grandchildren as a reward. When Ye Changsheng said this, Zhao Lingshan blushed and lowered her head, not daring to look at anyone. Zhao Liansheng also expressed his gratitude again, saying, Senior Ye is so kind to me. I'm very grateful. After the engagement ceremony, everyone chatted for a while. Although Zhao Lingshan is young, she is well spoken and knowledgeable, which makes Ye Changsheng more satisfied with this marriage. On the third day, Ye Changsheng was ready to set off to return to Jing'an Fortress. Before leaving, he and Zhao Liansheng agreed to marry Zhao Lingshan to King Hu Peak on the first day of the first lunar month. 3 months later, finally, Ye Changsheng and his party boarded the flying boat slowly lifted off, and flew away under the eyes of everyone. Looking at the flying boat gradually disappearing in the sky, Zhao Lingshan's eyes flashed a complicated look, wondering what she was thinking. Ye Changsheng's flying boat was as fast as lightning, passing through the clouds and rushing towards Zhao County of Dajin. 2 days of high-speed flight made everyone on the flying boat feel a little tired, but thinking about arriving at the destination, everyone couldn't help but cheer up. Finally, on the early morning of the 3rd day, a majestic mountain gate appeared in front of everyone. That is the famous Duayu sect, one of the most powerful immortal cultivation sects in Zhao County of the Jin Dynasty. The flying boat slowly landed on the square at the foot of Duayuman Mountain. Ye Changsheng straightened his clothes and led Ye Changsheng and others towards the mountain gate. Several disciples in uniforms stood on both sides of the mountain gate. When they saw a distinguished guest coming, they immediately stepped forward to greet them. One of the older disciples raised his hands and asked, "I wonder where these distinguished guests are from? What are you doing here?" Ye Changsheng returned the greeting with a smile and said, "My dear, Ye Changsheng is the head of the King's Hui family in Zhao County. Please let me know that I'm coming to visit your family this time." When the disciple heard about Ye Changsheng's identity, he didn't dare to neglect him. He said quickly, "It turns out that it's Senior Ye who's here. I'm disrespectful. Please wait a moment. I'll report it right away." After saying that, the disciple quickly walked into the mountain gate. Not long after, a middle-aged man in Chinese clothes walked out quickly. With a smile on his face, he cupped his hands and said, "I'm Zhao Bingwen, the foreign affairs elder of Duyuman. I have heard about Senior Ye for a long time, and when I saw him today, he was indeed very impressive. I wonder what your purpose is in this trip, Senior Ye." Changsheng returned the greeting. "Elder Zhao is too polite." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.